water, and it will get you wet too. After all, catering to his comfort will provide you with immense personal
do it.
Okay, there's no one watching yet.
Hey guys. So today we're doing an all-day podcast.
Can you turn me up, Ian?
Yes.
I can turn you up.
We're doing an all-day podcast called Teaching Outside the Textbook. And we're going to be interviewing a bunch of teachers and just like asking them normal human people questions. So if we don't know where Mr. Love is, I made cake.
You made the cake?
I made the cake. I made vegan cake.
Okay, I'm trying to go on Instagram Live, and my boomerness doesn't know how to do it. I
Hit the.
Okay, I got it.
Yep.
And
And
then
then there should be a thing
Yep.
that says
no,
live.
you took a picture.
Wait, oh my god, I just took a picture.
Yeah, right there. Go.
Okay, go live. All right.
Wonderful.
Okay, so while we wait.
We're gonna do some holiday trivia.
Yeah. Okay. This is really weird. It just sounds weird because I haven't done this yet.
Really?
Yeah, no. The last time I did a podcast that never happened, I used this.
So we're fine.
My thing is paused due to a poor connection. Okay, there we go. We're on.
Cool. Okay, there's my holiday trivia, and the video should upload at some point. Been trying to upload for like 4 days.
We got Mr. Doremus here hanging out with us this morning. I don't know if anybody had him for class who's listening right now. We don't have many people in here. How's the audio there? Can we all hear?
He's coming. He's on.
He's on his way.
Okay,
Perfect.
Cool.
So he'll be here.
Is he going to sit where I'm standing right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And eat some cake.
I
Yeah.
hold these, but not
I'm
talking.
really excited for this because I haven't tried the cake yet.
The cake or the podcast?
The cake.
Oh, okay.
Or both. It's early. Okay, what Christmas decoration was originally made of silver?
Tinsel.
Originally, it still is. Oh, you mean like the actual
Yeah.
element,
You
silver?
already did this though.
Oh,
It's
I did.
tinsel.
These are the same questions I asked. Okay, what holiday beverage is known as milk punch?
Eggnog.
Yeah.
I hate eggnog.
Hey, real quick, before Mr. Love gets here, can we talk about the Day of Code, like what that is?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Okay, so Day of Code.
And then after that,
There it is.
Mr. Love's coming in right now.
Never mind.
We're gonna get Mr. Love comfortable. He's gonna sit where I am. Caitlin made you a cake.
It's all about the cake.
It's vegan.
Vegan cake. You gotta try it. You gotta go at it, right?
Okay.
Wait, I don't want to eat cake while I'm talking.
Yes, Mr. Doremus, we do have a podcast.
Wait, I don't have forks.
Do you want fingers?
That's
Do you want-
good.
do
That's
you
why
want
you
live
got
on
10
the-
fingers.
We will get you a fork.
Do you,
What?
do you want to live on the NEI Instagram or no?
I am right now, aren't I? Or
No,
is this,
you're on your
this
own
is mine.
Personal account.
I'm such a boomer.
Greedy.
Okay,
Greedy. It's
I'm
all
gonna-
about you.
I'm gonna move it over to the NAI podcast.
Okay.
Mr. Love's gonna take my spot right now. We're gonna get him a fork.
It's all about the forks.
Take a seat. Okay, I'm going on this one.
Feeling you wear something important.
This mic is off, right?
No.
Thank you.
All right.
And cake at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Let's get the cake first.
This is like the highlight of my day. The fact that I made cake.
To be honest, it's kind of going to be the highlight of my day as well, I think. Looks fantastic. Any tips on what's in there? Any thoughts?
There's applesauce instead of eggs.
Dude, I can handle some applesauce.
There's nothing like. Everything is like normal stuff.
Oh, thank you.
That like
Just
normal.
no, nothing animal based, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
All right.
And napkins too. That's what I took from my house.
Should I start eating it now or should I wait? I
Who cares?
It's up to you.
don't want to jump. I don't want to jump ahead of anybody. I mean, seriously.
You're good. Go ahead.
No, wait. We can all eat the
Mia, while she's dishing that out, can you give us the intro then?
Yeah.
Anyone
What
else
are we
want
doing here today?
Anyone else want some cake?
Do you want me to play the music?
We'll have some later.
All right, here we go. All right, well, Mr. Hall just left, but hey guys, what's up? We're gonna do an all-day podcast today. So as Caleb said, the lineup is Mr. Love, who teaches advanced and academic PE for first period. Second period, we have Herr Demke, who is a German teacher. Third period, we have Mrs. Burns, who's a full teacher. Fourth period, we have Mr. Reck, who's 9th and 10th active grade. academic algebra and geometry. Period 5, we have Mr. Hall, who's 10th grade English. Period 6, we have Mrs. Pontier, who's a course teacher. Period 7, we have Dr. Gallo, who is a 9th grade honors and academic bio teacher. Period 8, we have Hildy. We all know who he is. AP Hug in economics. And of course, the name is Mr. Winchell to close it off. So right now we have Mr. Love with us today for first period. So I think we're just gonna jump right into it. And we have cake.
Yeah. So the whole thing came about one time I was talking to a friend about like I baked something vegan, and Mr. Love said if you bake anything vegan, I will try it. So I figured this is the most appropriate time to do this.
Absolutely.
I've not tried this either.
It's pretty good.
Wait, this is like pretty good.
It's very good. I think the best part about it is how moist it is. It tastes really good, and it's like not hard as a brick. It's always fantastic.
Do you want to start?
This is what applesauce does. I don't know. Every time I make, instead of using eggs and I use applesauce, cookies taste better, cakes taste better. I don't know what it is. Okay.
I'd have to tell my wife that. See what happens.
Everything just becomes moist. I know a lot of people don't like that word. Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize I was going taboo there. My fault.
No, you're good. Okay. So when did you realize you wanted to start teaching?
To be honest with you, when I was younger, I mean, I grew up in a place that was nowhere near like North Allegheny. So a lot of bad people, bad area. But the one thing I did all the time when I was younger is I always just hung out with younger kids. We were out, doing sports and playing and doing things. And I knew at that point that I enjoyed doing those types of things. The problem was my parents got divorced when I was younger. And neither one of them ever went to college. Neither one of them ever really did too much. And so when I went to school, my goal was really to kind of go big or go home. And so when I went to school, I was actually pre-med. When I got engaged to my wife, that was the night before my MCATs. At that point, I had already been working with doctors. Not a lot of them had real good family lives. And so I thought back to what else I really, really loved. I don't know that I ever really loved medicine, but I knew that I loved working with kids. And so right after I got engaged to my wife, didn't go to my MCATs the next day, and then enrolled in school for teaching.
I feel like that kind of translates into your class because your class, other than like a lot of other gym classes I've been in, it feels like kind of like a family.
Oh, that's good. That's kind of the goal.
There's a lot of tough love, but it is tough love.
Yeah.
And that's how it comes across.
Well, I'm glad because again, I tell people day one, you're either gonna love me or hate me, but just know that at the end of the day, I care about everyone and I'll do whatever I can to help
Like
you.
there are days when I'm like, I don't want to be here at all.
There are days where I don't want to be here at all.
Or,
Come
like,
on, let's be
Of all
honest.
days, I was just like, I don't want to come to your class just because I'm tired and I don't want to be there. And it's 8th period. I just came from lunch. It's just been a long day. But then I get in there and after I was like, you know what? That wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun.
I mean, what do you say in that situation? I don't want to show up, but man, it was okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's really, the end all be all is just trying to get you guys to enjoy what you can do, enjoy the things you can do, because ultimately, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it on your own. But also, give yourself time away from, all the stress and everything else that happens in all the classrooms.
What do you try to emphasize with your students? Like, what's most important that you try to get across?
My number one goal all the time is to be the best man or woman you can be. I mean, it's character comes before everything else. I mean, I don't know, again, if I'm going against the grain here, but I think society today has lost a lot of that character, a lot of that moral value. And I just think that should always be number one for any adult working with any child. Obviously, I want to show you guys how to stay fit and how to, live a healthy, active lifestyle. But above all that, to be the best man and woman you can be is the most important thing.
Yeah, in your class, I can really tell that because it's less of like, time to work out, guys, time to do something like everything else I've experienced before that. And yours is like, you're going to be the best you're going to be. And if this is your best that you're showing me today, that's okay.
Absolutely.
Like,
Not every day is a good day,
Yeah.
but make every day the best you can.
Yeah. There was one that I really remember. I don't know. I was just like, it was just like not a good day. And it was the day we were doing like weightlifting with the boards and we were just using dumbbells, I think.
Mhm.
I remember that day. I did not like it, but you were just like really nice and really positive, and that made my day. And I went to my next class and was like, wait, that was like fun.
Dude, I should start reconsidering how I approach these things. I gotta be a little mean or something.
No,
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
I'm still scared. Don't worry.
People are gonna start looking at me like I'm soft. My reputation is going down as we speak.
So kind of tying in with the whole like mottos and stuff, are there any things that you like live by and you wouldn't go without?
Live by, you mean material wise, or like, where are you going with that one?
More of like a quote or anything like that.
I actually have a quote in my house that I look at every single morning. And yeah, I haven't used it much recently, but I still have a lot of students from years past who send me pictures of, for instance, I have one young man who on his weight belt, he has it written on the inside, and he just did a competition the other day or the other month and did exceedingly well, and he showed me a picture of that. But there's two directions in life, up or down. There's no middle ground. You're either getting better or worse. You have to pick which path you're going to take.
It's really good. Yeah, I like that.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, if 6 months from now you're still where you are now, you had every opportunity to get better, and you did. So you went down in that situation.
Very cool. So where did you go to college?
My undergrad was at Duquesne. I went there for athletic training and pre-med. Got my degree from athletic training there, and then went back to school at Slippery Rock for teaching. So unfortunately, it was ridiculous. I had to go back to school for 3 years to be a teacher when, a lot of the stuff that I took at undergrad was able to carry over. I feel like I've been in school for an eternity. So I feel for you guys when I know you're going through school.
Yeah.
We have a little issue apparently.
Oh.
The video is restricted, it says.
Oh.
Hold on, let me check.
That's an NA issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened before.
How do we have 4 viewers then? Or 3?
We got 3 whole people listening to me. That's pretty good.
Can you see who?
Man,
Oh,
I'm big time right now.
you can see who joined right here. Oh, and they can comment. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so fun. Wait.
I don't know what the problem is, but
Yeah. Okay. So, where did you do your student teaching?
Believe it or not, I student taught here. So as an athletic trainer, I already had a job here for 2 years before I finished my teaching degree. So when I was there, I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I needed my athletic training job to support my wife and I. But at the same time, if I was student teaching somewhere else, I probably would have had to give up my job. So there was a former phys ed teacher up at the high school who I knew really well from Slippery Rock. And I communicated with her, who then communicated with Dave Schmidt, our department chair, and through a lot of workings, I was able to get my student teaching here. And I actually student taught with Mr. Schmidt and with Mr. McNavage. And those two guys, to be honest with you, for anybody out there that's listening who knows those guys, they're both my role models. So I've taken, I think what I feel is the best from both of them and kind of morphed them into how I approach my teaching with my own little twist.
Yeah. We tried to get Mr. McNavage.
Mr. McNavage is a beast. He's a
Do you know if you actually bit a head off a bird?
I don't know if he bit a head off a bird. To be honest with you, as rough as he is on the outside, he is a very, very lovable guy. So I highly doubt that he bit the head off a bird unless it meant survival. If he needed it to live, there's a possibility. I do know, however, that the dude battled wolves, man. He's done some crazy stuff. If you ever want to hear some good stories about life, Mr. McNavage is a good one to talk to.
So what's it? So we all know you have kids. So what's it like being a dad, but also being like a phys ed teacher in like the area of sports and stuff with that?
Man, I got to be honest with you. My kids probably hate me sometimes. I know every parent would say that at some point in time, but I don't know. Like all 3 of my kids are in soccer and baseball and sports. Now I grew up. I never played soccer. To be honest with you, I couldn't stand sport growing up. I love it now, but I found myself that I research the things my kids do a ton to just try to help them as much as possible. Probably to a fault. Mr. Bauer actually makes fun of me every once in a while for being one of those sideline parents who's constantly talking to their kids. But my thought is, dude, if they're not going to coach them, let me coach them, right? Someone's got to get them wrong. but it's tough. It's tough. You know, I try to have lighthearted conversations with them, but sometimes it gets a little heated.
Yeah, my dad subbed in for my sister's soccer team and then ended up being their like assistant coach.
How did that work out?
That actually worked out fine because my dad's mentality is similar to yours, where it's like, if you're doing your best, that's fine. But also, like, work hard. You need to do this.
Yep.
Stop doing this. And he's very strategic on stuff and not just, like, full power all the time. And now my sister is extremely fast. Like, little kids are fast. My sister is faster than those little kids.
That's
it's
good.
Scary.
That's good.
But, yeah, my sister's, like, a big runner now, and she's 9 or 10 years old and is on, like, a travel team.
With soccer,
Yeah.
I was going to try to sell her in cross country, but unfortunately, I had to say
She did a track camp over the summer.
I'm there. I love the track camp. Love. That's a little push for John Neff, by the way.
She did. She's best friends with his daughter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So like once or twice a week, I end up walking over to the next house.
Well, you got to. I mean, they're the Neffs. They're cool people.
They are. Yeah. So what's your favorite sport?
Well, I mean, football always was my favorite sport growing up. I played that all the way through college, so I always had a passion for it. But little known fact, I have not watched a single down of football yet this year. Not a single one. I'm boycotting all football except for NA football. I can't. I'm so bothered right now. But I mean, at this particular point, I'd say my favorite sport to be around is probably baseball. My favorite sport to watch is probably soccer because all my kids are involved. So, and again, to give credit to people who play soccer, growing up, I was as naive as you can imagine. My high school didn't even have soccer. Looking at it now, it's a extremely skilled sport. It's a really good sport. So
I hate it.
I'm like the polar opposite.
man,
I'm just like terrible at it. I was that kid that got hit with the ball like 3 times. It was like, I'm not doing anything.
yeah,
I
I'm
hated
done.
What positions do your kids play?
My oldest one plays pretty much all three. Plays up top, plays at the mid, plays defensive. Me personally, I think he's probably a better midfielder. And then my other 2 guys, well, my youngest is a midfielder, and then my middle guy is a defender. So I always like the defenders. They just got to be meaty and just beat people up.
I liked being a defender. I didn't have to do anything.
That's being defense is like the hardest. You have to react the whole time. On offense, you get to pick and choose what you do.
I was also like 7.
Well, all right, different animal.
If there was any sport you could try, what would it be? Like something just like out there.
Oh man, who knows? I suck at swimming. I'd love to swim, do something competitive that way. But lacrosse would be a fun one too. I think lacrosse looks like a really good sport.
Lacrosse is fun. I did the girls lacrosse camp for 3 years, but then my schedule never worked out to join the team.
It's tough. North Allegheny's tough, man. I mean, there's like so many things going on all over the place. To try to squeeze it all in, it's an animal. I just like the fact that you move nonstop though. That's
Yeah. One thing that I fell in love with over the summer was actually surfing.
cool. Now that would be cool.
It's so much fun. So before I went, a bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be so hard. You're not gonna be able to get up." I went with my uncle, and I have this weird gift with water sports. Like
Okay.
I'm pretty good at water skiing, wakeboarding, and I've surfed off the back of a boat before. But my uncle grew up in Cape Cod, so he's a big surfer dude. He was in the Navy, so he surfed in like Hawaii, Japan. Crazy. He has 13 surfboards, and 2 years ago, he was like, "Hey," I said, "Hey, will you teach me how to surf?" And he said, "Yes, if you come up." So for 2 years straight, I begged my parents to go to Cape Cod, and we went up this summer, and I got up on my second wave.
Look at you, knuckles up on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's surreal though. Like the first time you get it, it's weird because you're like, it doesn't seem possible at first, but it's fun because you get to like sit in the water, and we were in shark infested waters because it was Orleans, Massachusetts. That was fun.
Well, I gotta be honest. I'd be terrified of getting eaten by a shark.
It's what my uncle told me is if you don't provoke them and you're not by like a trash outlet, you'll be fine. Like we saw seals like 10 feet away from us one day. It was flat. We were just paddling around, and then it got like 45 minutes in. It was too cold, and we got out and ate donuts on the beach. But we saw some seals, and he was like, you know, the worst part to be in when you're seal, or worst part to see sharks. Like the easiest place, I don't know what to say. But he said it's not by seals, it's actually by trash outlets because they think that trash is fish. So if you're surfing by a trash outlet, you're more likely to get bit by a shark than you are if you see seals 10 feet away from you.
All I know is this: my oldest one loves sharks, and so we watch Shark Week religiously every year, and it scarred me for life, man. I mean, apparently there's 8,000 species of shark that would just eat you for fun. So, and I'm obviously joking about that, but man, it's just terrifying.
I've watched Shark Week, Soul Surfer.
Soul Surfer,
Soul Surfer is so good. Bethany Hamilton is amazing.
she's an absolute
Her
beast.
best friend, Alana Blanchard, is also amazing.
Oh, really?
Her and her fiance is currently in the championship tour and went up against 11-time world champ in a heat and beat him.
Oh, wow, that's really
Yeah,
cool. That's
he
really
went up against Kelly Slater and it was amazing.
interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Just go on a random.
Went off on a tangent. That's good though.
So
That's good.
yeah. I got like obsessed with it and we lived in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. I think we have a guest spot here.
Hi.
Do you guys know Mrs. Lynch?
Hi, nice to meet you.
She has a lot of baggage today. I mean, geez, man, she's getting coats and papers and
I'm recovering students' lost items. I'm like a Santa Claus, returning things that they've lost.
Mia, is her mic on?
Now it is.
Oh, okay.
I just remembered to have on. Do you want cake?
Oh, no, thank you. Not
vegan cake, dude.
Are you serious?
Look, even I tried a piece.
A vegan cake is.
Oh, man. That's
Yes,
right.
I would love some vegan cake.
I guess we're eating with fingers now anyways.
This is an awesome setup that you all have.
Thank you.
This is good stuff, man. We've run the gamut. We've talked about, old school where I grew up.
The rocks.
Well, we didn't mention the rocks, but I was trying to keep them under wraps. And then we just went off on a tirade about surfing. Sharks eating
Oh my
people.
God. Look at the size of that cake. That's enough for the whole department.
That's for lunch too, man.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Breakfast and lunch.
I think my dress is a little bit elastic.
You said it, not me.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Apparently, the secret sauce is applesauce. Literally sauce.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a substitute for eggs.
Well, exactly.
All right, are we continuing with
Yeah.
the questions? So I'm guessing you both know that Mr. Bauer has his own deodorant company.
He does. He does.
Let's talk about that.
Do you guys use it?
I do, actually. I do. This is a promo for Mr. Bauer, I guess, but I use his tangerine deodorant. It is by far the best smelling deodorant I've ever tried. Mr. Hall, you're out there like cracking up right now.
Sorry?
You're out there cracking up right now. This is turned into a promo piece.
The stink bug deodorant?
The stink bug deodorant, yeah.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, we're going down a dangerous path.
Mr. Bauer, if you can bring down the price point a little bit, it's a bit too bougie for me.
I'll
It's
relay
like
that to him next period.
It's a Whole Foods purchase. You know?
A whole
It's-
paycheck
A
purchase.
whole paycheck purchase.
It's at Walmart too, just so.
Is it really?
Yeah, he's out in, I don't know the exact number, but he's in like, I think 200 Walmart stores.
Oh, that's really cool.
You'll probably get a lower price point there.
I probably will. Just check Amazon.
Or maybe he can have a stink bug cart here and really get the price down. There's no middleman.
And yeah, right directly from warehouse
Like
to
a cart.
consumer.
Like the coffee cart we have
Yes.
here, the stink bug cart. You just go around.
Yeah. Hey, is it breaking your ethical code to eat cake in the morning?
Not vegan.
Is that not vegan?
I'll be honest with
It's
you.
applesauce.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't for Caitlin, I probably would not be here.
Hey, you guys keep going.
Enjoy.
Okay, so in class you said it was a play on words. How was it a play on words? Stink bug? I don't get it. Does anyone know?
I actually don't know. I think it's just the idea of talking about something that smells, something when you hear stink bug, obviously the first thing you think of is more of a pungent smell, and then they're coming out with this way to kind of counter that.
So that you aren't the stink bug.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting little twist on it.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my friends, and it turns out she used it for like 3 years straight, then stopped, and then this year found out it was his.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's thinking of changing the name though because of the actual stink bug.
Yeah.
So he's still playing with the name, and it'll be interesting to see what he finally settles on.
Yeah. So I know both. You're very healthy. I know that.
Try
You're
to.
always talking.
Try to.
Well, besides cake in the morning, it's fine.
Yeah.
What are like some of your favorite like things to make or eat?
I mean, do you want to take that one first, or do you want me to go?
Okay. Well, on October 28th, Mr. Schmidt, we watched as a whole department a movie called Game Changers. So since then, I've not eaten meat and I've given up caffeine. So my diet consists mainly of beans, vegetables, just peanut butter, anything that, yeah. So are you?
I'm a vegetarian.
Okay, so I like to eat vegan items, but I'm not vegan. So
Same.
obviously when you're out in the world, like when you're in your
I'm
own
really
house,
excited.
yeah, but when you're out in your own house, it's easy to eat vegan. But when you go somewhere, it's hard to say, is there egg in this? Is there butter in this? So you just try to pick the healthiest options. So honestly, my energy levels have gone through the roof without the caffeine because I'm sleeping, and all of the massive amounts of vegetables and fruit that are in my diet are through the roof. My hair's good, my skin's good, my attitude is good. So, well, most days my attitude is good.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it.
I can put up with love so much better now that I'm on this diet.
Yeah, I love it. I love like eating stuff like that. I think the hardest thing though is I don't like beans that much, so it's I'm finding that love again.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little tip.
Okay.
Put some portobello mushrooms, whole cloves garlic with olive oil in the oven, roast that up, throw that in your beans, and the mushrooms absorb the garlic flavor, and it just kind of takes over so that you're not just eating this like dry bean.
It's kind of like ranch with vegetables. It just covers everything.
No love.
You just start
It's-
dipping and
It's like
opening.
it, but it's not. My question to you is, how long have you been vegetarian, and what made you go vegetarian? Because teens, we're not seeing as many
A
teens.
few months, and it was mostly so because like I'm being raised Catholic. There's Lent, which is like you have to give up something, and I always liked it because I was like I like eating really healthy, and I just want to see what happens. So for that whole thing, I gave up meat for the whole thing. It was hard for like the first 2 weeks because I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just like eating pasta for like 2 weeks straight, which wasn't bad. It was good pasta, but yeah. And then after like the last 4 weeks, I was like, wow, I feel great.
That's
And
the whole
then-
thing. The energy levels go through the roof.
And then I went back because my dad's like, we're not cooking 2 dinners. That's it. It's like, okay. And then around August, I think, August or September, I was just like, nope, it's New Year, not eating meat. And that was it. I think I've eaten meat a few times, mostly just because I'm lazy and it's made for me and I just don't want to cook. Like, that's usually the reason.
I'll have to share some of my recipes with you.
Yeah. And I've asked so many people, like vegetarians or vegans. My child teacher's vegan too. So like she's sent me so many recipes and I love her for it. And
I have 2 words for you. Instant pot. You get one of those, you throw all of the ingredients in, you cook it.
those are
you
the
have-
best things. I found a vegan chili recipe. And
Yes,
I-
that's what you should ask Santa Claus for.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of just did it because I love the environment and I love animals, and I was reading on like the environmental benefits of it.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh yeah, and there's all these health benefits too. That's great too.
Yeah, it's something that you feel the difference within 1 week. You notice a difference. Within 2, it's really cruising. By 3, you're on your path.
Yeah, because 1 week it's more like if you don't do it right, it's kind of withdrawal is the best way to describe it. Because if you go from like eating meat and dairy every day, you kind of go through like a withdrawal within the first week and a half, I guess. And then by like 2.5 weeks, you feel good.
Did you give up caffeine?
No.
That was.
I don't think
Talk about
anybody
withdrawal.
really gives up caffeine.
I
Did
gave
you
up.
see the coffee line in the
But I
morning?
don't drink a lot of coffee. That's the thing. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of tea. So like it's my
Okay.
tea that has caffeine.
Tea all day, baby. Tea all day. What? It's 8 o'clock?
5-minute warning.
Oh,
No way, we're not getting off the air. We're on all day. I just want to see comments, man. I'm just here rolling comments.
But yeah, I
really
last,
wasn't that many. I was just.
the last time I drank coffee was last night, but that's just because I wanted Starbucks after rehearsal. I was like, and
So-
I still had to ice the cake, and
which is delicious.
thank you.
Mhm.
I still had to ice the cake and finish a project, a European history project. So I was up till like 11 o'clock.
Those darn teachers, I'll tell you.
But you should ask Love about his diet. He has an interesting lunch every day.
Do I really?
He eats a bell pepper like an apple. I've never seen it done.
So
In the seeds?
I don't eat the seeds. I just eat the outside. But I mean, my diet's pretty simple. I mean, my problem is with 6 people in my house. If we tried making multiple meals, it'd be out of control. But I'm a firm believer in anything in moderation. Although I will agree with Mrs. Lynch when we watch Game Changers, the research that goes along with that is pretty powerful. The vegan lifestyle definitely. There's a lot of myths that are dispelled through that video, and so shameless plug for that. But if I had the opportunity, I probably would lean more towards vegan. But the prep time is a pain in the butt. My wife raising 4 kids is a pain in the butt. So sometimes, finding the challenge to do that. So right now I still live by the moderation method.
Yeah.
You can have a little bit of anything.
Sundays are usually when I make a bunch of food.
Mhm.
Like, here's where
That's
I
what
make all
I
my
do.
food.
Prep.
Yeah, that's usually Sundays, but sometimes it doesn't happen, and we see.
Do you notice
just
that
like
if I don't do
leftovers.
my Sunday, like I
Your
nearly
whole
eat
week-
during the week because
Yeah.
it's.
I didn't do it last Sunday, and now my whole week's been messed up.
Just
I've fallen
that's
apart.
why she needs to come to Phys Ed and lift more often. She's having a bad day. Apparently that's the place to go, man.
Well, and I
Let's
think
go.
that's another
That's
thing.
happening.
I don't think teenagers understand how much protein you need anytime you exercise, but especially any kind of weight bearing. It's like eating that protein within 30 minutes is so vital.
I had
And
one right before too.
yeah, but I mean, just a cheese stick or, some nuts, some seeds, some peanut butter,
Yeah.
I don't think teenagers are getting
Yeah.
enough protein.
I usually have a trail mix with a bunch of nuts in it, and then last week I had this like diner hash which had potatoes. That's what it. That's
That
what
sounds like something that
called.
McKee's Rock serves, diner hash.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man, it sounds really good.
What is in this
know it's
diner
it,
hash?
it
Okay,
sounds
so it's
good.
mashed potatoes, onions, or not mashed potatoes, just like normal potatoes, onions, I think garlic, peppers, and tempeh, and that was it. And it was all mixed together. It was amazing. It was my first time having tempeh, and it was really
I
good.
don't even know what tempeh
Okay,
is.
so it's like, I don't know. I don't even know what's in it.
Is it a protein?
Yeah, it's protein.
It's intestines.
It's tofu, but not.
Okay.
It's like
I believe it's intestines, right? Is that what that
it's
means?
a
She's
plant-based
saying-
thing.
No,
It's plant-based, are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
tofu, intestines, those are 2 different accounts of what's in this diner hash.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I could be completely wrong. Man,
As far as I know, tempeh, it's like tofu.
I looked up Tempe and it went to Tempe, Arizona. So I don't think you were.
It
I
didn't
don't
go to
think you-
McKees Rocks?
Yeah, I don't think you were looking there, so I'm not sure.
But yeah, it was good. It's nice. Tempeh's
Enjoyable.
good. It's better. I think it's better than tofu. Just because tofu's crumbly.
Not a big tofu.
Well, let me ask you a question, because obviously our phys ed department and health department, we're all about trying to get kids to be the best they can be.
Yeah.
What is it going to take for kids to give up these Pop-Tarts and all of these processed foods and things that are super, super simple? What could the school be doing to offer some healthier choices? Because we're just seeing the diet is nowhere near what we are happy with. And it's because this is what they're getting
Yeah.
used to.
I think maybe just like look at what the rest of the world is doing, because so many schools like overseas have so many healthier lunches, and the country as a whole is healthier because of this, because these kids are being exposed at such a young age to these healthier options, and it's just how they grow up. And I think it's less of just like, you can only do so much in a school. The rest is
Mhm.
your family. So if you're packing lunch every day, but your family doesn't eat that healthy, then what can you do? Like, the school can't do anything about that. I also think I feel like maybe now just like let them live and live with the consequences, and then they'll regret it.
Oh. Unfortunately, we're seeing those consequences are not good. Even just look at the sleep levels, the energy levels.
I blame
the
that
I'm
on.
student.
gonna say I blame that on the teacher.
Yeah, I blame that. I blame that one on the school more because on the school district because I'm up at like 5:45 every morning.
Oh, so it's the start time that you're
it's the
talking
start
about.
time.
And just the amount of homework load. I think because I have like sports after school.
Yeah.
Just like because I did track, I do soccer still. So coming back from practice and then going straight into like the 5 essays that I have to do plus the other project that I have to do for some crazy thing that I won't remember in the next 3 weeks. So I think it's just the homework load.
There's
So-
there's a big homework load, but also the difference between NA and a lot of other schools is if you're busy in NA, you're being productive when you're not.
Okay.
Someone did an article on this. I just remember it was like it was something like is busy really that important? Because unless you're doing a sport, you're doing music, you're doing like another extra like 3 clubs and your homework, you're like being productive and you're set up for life. When in the real world, that's not really how it works.
Mhm.
You have like 2 things going on instead of 7. And
What about a later start time? I know I worked at State College for 21 years, and we used to start at 8:10 and go to 3:15. Now they moved it to 8:40 to 3:40.
I wish we could switch with the elementary school just because I think they're always up earlier than us.
Yeah, my
They
sister
are,
wakes
and then
up
they're
at like
tired in
7.
the afternoon.
Exactly.
Yeah, my sister wakes up at 7 anyway, so she could get on a 7:30 bus. She could get on the middle school bus and be fine. But yeah, I know my cousins who live in Cape Cod. Just because it's one giant school district on Cape, and they have to go from like Provincetown to her school, which is in Orleans. Their start time is like 9 o'clock, but she doesn't have to do anything. She can walk to her school. It's like a 10-minute walk, so she can wake up at 8:30, and they get let out at like 3:30, I think.
Dude,
So-
I'd love to get up at 8:30.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
By
think
the
we
way,
would all have a
Dan-
different attitude.
Yeah.
Mr. Coleman just gave a shout out and just wanted everybody to know that he thinks math rocks. Just-
But I think just like a later start time would benefit everyone, and the main argument is, oh, if there's a later start time, then kids will be up later. Yeah, but no, at the same time, people will be more productive.
Well, all of the research shows that the teenager's circadian rhythm does not shut down, before 11 o'clock. So
Yeah, I mean I get that, but also like no one is awake until like 3rd period.
I see that. I see
Yeah.
that.
That's absolutely true.
That's a good analogy.
There's like a nice window of like 3rd period to 6th period when everyone's awake and fully ready to work, and then like 7th period hits and everyone's done. We're done.
I just hear her saying we need to shorten the day period. Just come in later.
Well, I also read a thing in Microsoft. They had a 4-day week and a 3-day weekend, and it like upped their productivity so much by like 40%, I think.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I learn a lot from these girls. Just sit back and listen.
Plus, you get to eat cake.
Vegan cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to have the
8 o'clock
recipe
in
of
the
this.
morning, you eat cake. You cannot go wrong with that.
It was
By the
like
way, take a
first
look at the
one to
library. Look how many ugly sweaters there are. And today's not even ugly sweater day.
It is ugly sweater
It
day.
is.
I was joking. I was trying to have some fun with people wearing ugly sweaters. Come on, man. You guys you gotta follow along a little
I feel
quicker.
like some sweaters now aren't like deemed ugly sweaters. Like they're just like retro sweaters.
Retro.
I don't know. Like Mr. Hull's sweater isn't that bad.
This is awful, dude. It's awful.
I don't know if we
Yeah,
classify
happy
his as
sweater?
ugly sweater or
I
not.
wouldn't
No,
classify.
it's
I'm
fine.
more of a cardigan.
I mean, there's 2 llamas sitting on top of it. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's fitting the dress code today. I do.
I would classify it as like an old grandpa sweater. It's kind of stylish.
I didn't have an ugly sweater, so I went to buy one, and I didn't want it to like just be I wanted to like have it be semi-wearable. So I can wear this in like Lawrenceville, and I'm cool and hip.
or you could go to a Fortnite competition
Or-
and you have llamas everywhere.
That's right.
It works
Or
perfect.
I can wear it a bunch of around the high school kids, and they'll just judge me all day.
I'll be honest, I think I started the judgment. I'm sorry.
Did you guys see who just walked in the building?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is.
We should all stand in attention.
We should stand their attention. Who is somebody going to give Officer Mesker a microphone? We got him up here.
Here you
Do
go.
you want
I'll
cake?
give him my microphone.
Did you guys talk about roller derby at all?
No, we did
Not at
not.
all.
What?
We missed that.
Oh, then Bill, get out.
Yeah, I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
Okay.
I'm getting
I
out.
play roller derby.
That's
Oh,
cool.
That's so cool. I've seen videos of that. It looks fun.
Yeah.
But I would never do it because I would be scared of falling on my face.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you don't fall on your face. You fall on your forearms and your knee pads, and that's the first thing they teach you is how to fall.
Yeah. I watched a show where a girl did roller derby.
Dude, this cake
That
is
seems really cool.
It's a great stress management. It keeps you out of trouble with the law because it's you're legally allowed to hit people.
Well, tell her.
I'm too
tell her
scared
what
to
your
hit
stage
someone.
name is. What's your
Oh, my skating name is Pinky Balboa.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, honestly, it's exercise, it's female empowerment with sports, and like I said, it's legal. And skates are the great equalizer because you have athletic talent. You put skates on your feet, 8 wheels that are rolling, and there's a lot of mental fortitude that goes into paying attention to not getting killed and having those wheels go exactly where you want them to
Yeah,
go.
my dad plays hockey, so I can understand that.
Yes. But anyway, it's a great stress management. But I want to turn it over to Officer Metzger because I think he's going to have a lot of great things to say.
Oh, one more thing.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this is more of just like back to like the vegan stuff.
Yes.
There's a person, she is a pro surfer, Alana Blanchard. So if you watch the Soul Surfer movie, her best friend, Alana Blanchard, she's a mom, she's vegan, and she likes to cook.
Oh, that's a great lifestyle.
Or
Like, you talk about stress
like
management.
Boho Beautiful, they do a bunch of yoga stuff and like travel the world and are vegan.
Absolutely. So I think more vegetarian options in our cafeteria would be fantastic. But definitely want to get the recipe of this cake because it is fantastic. So ladies, thank you so much for
Thanks for
joining
coming.
Thank you.
Where's Dempkey? Where's Dempkey?
Well, it's not second period yet. It's homeroom.
Still homeroom.
Right.
That's why
right.
we got the officer.
Right.
All right, ladies.
This is when people be watching
How you
too.
I'm very happy to
No
be
one's-
here.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Is there wheat in it?
Yes.
I can. I'm gluten-free, grain-free.
My brother and my mom are vegan, so I understand that.
I'm one step above that.
Oh.
Grain-free, so I don't eat any corn products, rice, anything like that. So I'm kind of one step above that. Which is, it was
I'm
hard.
vegetarian, so that's like
It
half
was
my
hard.
diet.
It's a lot of willpower, but I didn't have a choice because of my, joints and various issues that introduces to.
I have a friend who's gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free, and I miraculously made cookies that were soft.
Wow.
I don't know how it happened. It was the guy that played Buddy the Elf in the middle school musical, if you saw that.
I didn't see that, but.
So any questions for me? I have a lot of answers.
Well, let's see. So did you have a job here, obviously, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't. But when did you start working here?
I started last school year, so 2018, 19. So I've been here about a year and a half now.
Very-
Yes.
So,
It's challenging. It's different.
yeah.
It's basically like a new job. I've worked in patrol in various capabilities for 26 years. So this is a different challenge. It's fun. It's like a new job. I like working with kids and trying to, get them back on track. Some kids need a little bit of help here and there. I have a lot of advice to give. To help them.
So, like, what do you do on, like, a day-to-day basis?
Day-to-day basis, so I come in about 6:30-ish and kind of roam the halls, post up, when the student drop-off is in the front. Sometimes I'll go back in the back where the cafeteria is, where the buses drop off. Just kind of roam around the halls, check in with teachers, kids, see what's going on. And then I start my day. I've checked all my emails and then, do some rounds, talk with the principals, the administration, see what's going on. I check in with the guidance counselors, see if they have any issues with any kids that I can help out with. Time to time, I do teach some classes. Early on in the year, I did some, with the physics class, I did some speed timing devices that we use to enforce speed zones. So we went out on Cumberland Road and we tracked some cars speeding.
That road is scary.
Yeah.
Like, I've had my dad doesn't like to pick me up at the pickup line.
Yes.
So long. So he'll just be like, I'll be in the neighborhood by Cumberland, just cross the street. And I just stand there for a solid 3 minutes, waiting for some nice person.
Well, I
to
have some
stop.
good news. They're gonna be installing some lights and some lighted crosswalks and I believe some type of flashing system. So cars will have to stop when kids are crossing, which will help, yes.
That's nice.
And that's been in the works for now a year and a half.
Okay.
But a lot of red tape, because that's a state road there. So you have to go through the state and get all approvals and everything. We're trying currently to turn the 15-mile-an-hour zone back to about 6:45. All it takes is one little button,
Yeah.
but to do that, it takes probably a whole forest of trees and paperwork to do that. So it's, bureaucracy sometimes it's long.
So how did you know you wanted to like go into this line of work?
As police or school resource officer?
Please.
Police. So in high school, I didn't like school, like some kids do.
I feel that.
You know, I always had that mentality of why do I have to learn this for the real world? And a lot of that's frustrating to kids, so I can empathize with them. And I didn't want to go to college, have one student loans, work at a minimum job to pay my college tuition. So I made the choice of joining the Navy. And in the Navy, I kind of honed what I wanted to do in life. And when I was in Virginia Beach, stationed in Virginia Beach, I started taking a introduction to law enforcement class in college. And I did a ride along with the Virginia Beach Police Department. And the first time that I got in the car and we went with the lights and siren on, I was like, this is what I want to do. So that kind of put me on the path.
So where in the Navy did you go?
So I was stationed in Virginia Beach and then I went to Newfoundland, Canada.
Wait, when were you in Virginia Beach?
From, what was that, 1988 to about 1990,
Yeah.
a little over.
My uncle was stationed there in like 2003 to 2007, I think,
Okay,
somewhere around there.
okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. I still go back there for vacation.
He got to go to Japan. I think he was stationed in South Korea, but then they like visited Japan and all those islands, and then Hawaii, and then Cape Cod 1 year, and then they moved back to Cape Cod.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I went up to my last tour was in Newfoundland, Canada, which people complain about the winters here up in
It
there.
must be worse.
Oh, my God, I've never seen so much snow
The
in my life.
the winters in Cape Cod are even bad.
Yeah.
I've been up there before, and we've got like a foot of snow.
Yeah, I mean,
It's terrible.
a foot of snow and then winds about 60 miles an hour.
And you're by the ocean, aren't you?
Right on the coast
Yeah.
of Newfoundland, yeah. So it's,
It's not
you
fun.
see icebergs,
Yeah.
going by and everything. So it's in Wales, you can see Wales. It's a different world up there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I know bullying can be a big thing in school districts. Do you think there's any steps as students that we could take to try and lower the amount of bullying that happens here?
Well, I guess it stems from to try to combat it and stop it, people have to report it. Social media has turned this society into just a different world. And kids hide behind their phones and keyboards, and it brings out the worst of them. And I always tell parents that I have a 13-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son, and I've told them numerous times that they will never have social media on their phones or anywhere
That's my dad.
as long as they're in my house, because I've never seen positive things come out of it, unfortunately. And it's too much, kids nowadays are not mature enough. It's basically like a supercomputer in their hand. And, kids make impulse decisions. And that's normal for any child or teenager to make. And I always tell them that it's not abnormal. And then putting a supercomputer in their hand and say, go ahead, do whatever you want to do, causes problems. Bullying, pictures that probably shouldn't be sent. Just a lot of things that come up.
So I'm not sure if you know this or not, but the statistics for cyberbullying has not gone up a lot since whenever the social media really became a big thing.
Yes, it definitely has. The stats I don't know offhand, but I mean I just see it on an everyday basis. I just dealt with it yesterday. I sat with parents and a kid about bullying and threats and stuff like that. And it happens, and a lot of it goes unreported because the kids involved, they just think it's normal, and that's what is happening. All these bullying and insults and whatever else is going on is becoming normal, and it's really not. Bless you.
Thank you. So I know that NA started that Safe to Say thing last year.
Yes.
It's
So
kind
I
of
know.
become a joke.
Yeah. What's your response about that?
Let me ask you what the kids think about it and the students think.
They've taken it as a joke. Like, I think all the intentions were right. I think the intention was right, but then it became a joke.
Yeah. Like I know people that
Because-
if they had like a personal grudge against somebody, then they would just like write their name up on that thing to get revenge.
They weaponize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it was also kind of how I remember hearing in other middle schools, I don't think Carson necessarily did it, but teachers would be like, everyone download Safe to Say and do that. And it was just the way teachers would market it. It
Yes.
wasn't really used as a resource. It was more as just like, download it. It's a school thing.
So it was mandated by the state, by the Attorney General's office, and it was kind of, in my perspective, just rushed. They knew it was coming, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's your training, and it goes live in 2 months. And me and some administrators looked at each other and was like, what? How do we even go about processing this to begin with and try to market it in a way that students take it seriously? It was tough at first, but I think it's settled down. The weaponization of it, I think it's calmed down, and I think we've gotten the message out, and I've tried to get the message out that repeat people that keep sending false reports in, they can be tracked and they can be prosecuted. And I think getting that message out, I think people understood it's not used to be used as a weapon. It's calmed down. Lately, the tips that we've got are legitimate and actually, and now it's not getting kids in trouble. It's helping them, like vaping, for instance. Kids that get caught vaping, it's not, I don't arrest them. The school has to discipline them, but it's more of a educational, telling parents and say, hey, this is what's happening if you keep doing this. So it's more for helping kids than getting them in trouble.
Right.
When they told us about it, they never said it was anything about like vaping. It was more just about like suicide and stuff. And I think if you're taking that road, you should instead just like give kids the numbers to the helplines and stuff like that, and have them know that instead of maybe.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but there's a little bit more like psychological stuff behind that because people don't like say, I'll throw out like eating disorders, cutting disorders, suicide, stuff like that. Kids are doing it, and some of them don't want other people to know, and only like literally one or two of their friends know about it, and they've like promised not to say. But when that comes out, sometimes that helps. It opens up what's going on in their life. So I think it's helped more than hurt. So, yeah, I think in the end, I think it's a good tool if it's not weaponized.
Yeah. Okay, on to a lighter topic.
Yes, yes.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I would say probably some kind of South Pacific island like Tahiti or something like that. I like warm weather,
Okay.
clear oceans, and not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Tahiti's amazing. It has massive waves.
Yeah, that's
in
what I hear.
Tornado.
And so, yeah, I don't like a lot of crowds. So,
And then
that's what
on to that, would you go swimming with sharks?
if I was in a cage,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I would probably avoid that.
Mia, would you?
I would not have the guts to do that.
I think I would do that outside of a cage. I love the ocean, and I'm not scared because if you don't provoke them, they're not going to harm you. So.
Have you ever swam with dolphins before?
I've not swum with dolphins. I have surfed with sharks up in Orleans, Cape Cod. There were like a few shark attacks up there.
Yeah.
I've surfed up there. We saw a few seals one time when we were out with my uncle, and he was like, "You don't need to worry about it." I was like, we're wearing black wetsuits. It's a cloudy day," and he was like, "You know what? Yeah, that's fine."
All right. I think we have our next
Yeah.
guest here. Thank you
All
for
right.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you. Anytime. I have a lot of stuff to talk about.
All right.
All right,
Well, if
have-
you ever want to come back.
Yeah, we're
All
gonna
right.
do this again.
All right. Have a good holiday.
You too.
Also, Mr. Hull will be going on the announcement soon and saying that people who join the live and comment questions have a chance to win a $1.
You're up.
Not something.
I
Yeah,
$1.
win.
Like a free coffee, I
Refill
think.
my water bottle.
Okay.
Do you want cake?
want me to
yeah,
sit
is this
over
a
there?
Yeah.
vegan cake?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, you
I don't
can-
know.
Yeah, you can
Where
sit
are the
right
forks?
center stage.
Where have you been getting
Ooh,
forks?
center stage.
Have you
I
just been
went to the
stealing?
foods room.
Okay.
You
I'm
can
just
get it in the
gonna-
cafeteria too.
I'm
Is
gonna
that
go to the
right?
There's
store
forks right
Coffee over
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here.
And I can
Serve
go
yourself.
get
I'm
more.
going to get, yeah. I'm going
You
to
want,
get
with the headphones on,
Yeah.
I guess? All right, all
Wait,
right,
Mia,
all
what
right.
year is it?
3.
Oh, okay.
So, is there 3 people interviewing right now?
Maya, you can go.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
just
Okay.
going to refill my water bottle. But I'm gonna
So
stay
where's this
here.
being broadcast?
YouTube.
Right here.
Oh, okay, great. And it's live.
Yes. Also, hi, Dom.
How do you see
Morning,
the
and
comments?
very quickly, we have a live broadcast with some of your favorite teachers and students going on in the podcast studio right now as part of the Day of Code.
That's
They're
really
talking
good.
about teaching outside of the textbook, some of their interests outside of school and sorts of things like that. We are giving away 5 free gift certificates to the Tiger card out in the hallway, $1 a piece. All you need to do is log on using the link that I sent out this morning, ask a question, and you will be entered in the running to win one of those gift certificates. Thank you.
All right, so we have Herr Demke with us right now for period 2. He's an academic and honors German teacher for both 10th and 9th grade.
Good morning.
So we have some general questions for you before we get into the personal ones. So when did you realize that you wanted to be a teacher?
Early on, I come from a family of teachers. Anybody who, thinking of aunts and uncles, any of them that were professionals, were teachers. Several were music teachers. If they weren't teachers, one was a school psychologist. So I kind of had education in the blood, so to speak. I understood the culture and that sort of thing. So very early on, I didn't know I was going to be a German teacher.
So I'm guessing that you probably took German in high school.
I did. I'm from eastern Pennsylvania, and about 50 miles north of Philadelphia, and it's a very strong. Originally was a very strong Pennsylvania German center. I remember when I was a kid, there was a article a week that would run that was in Pennsylvania German, so it's a dialect of German. My grandmother and great uncles and aunts grew up on a farm there. I don't know if any of them had more than 8th grade education, but they spoke German, and we'd get together at family reunions, and they were all much older than me. none of us knew what they were saying. But they spoke the Pennsylvania German. So I had that in the background, ancestry, and then I had an invitation to go study and live abroad.
So cool. I would love to do that.
Well, I hope you can. I hope you can.
So I know that, especially starting in just middle school, picking up a foreign language is very hard to do.
Yeah, so it is. The advantage is, it's more advantageous to take a language early. And one of the things that I discovered when I was living abroad, so in between high school and college, I was an exchange student in Western Germany, just because I lived with a family. And I was just amazed in a number of things with that experience, but how much earlier students learn other languages, and not just one. It's a little bit different. You're in Germany, for instance, and you travel 50 miles, you could be in 2 different countries, where different languages might be spoken. But very early on, and I think when kids are younger, plastic and can acquire things much more quickly. So it would be great if we started earlier. We push for it all the time, but it's just a little different here at stateside.
So when you were abroad, did you go to college in Germany or did you come back to the US?
So I've lived abroad 2 different years. So I lived as an exchange high school student in what was Western Germany, and this was in 88, 89. And at the time, again, Germany was divided, and you talk to any number of people, and I was able to travel a lot. They thought the previous, 40 years with the Iron Wall, Berlin Wall, and all that stuff was going to be as the next 40 years would continue, and returned home, and the wall fell. Amazingly, I was a double major in college, history and German. Started my studies there, and then I studied my junior year in college, the second time that I lived abroad, and that was in the amazing city of Vienna. And what was cool about that, any number of things. I love cities, I love travel, and that city is in the most southeastern kind of area of where German is spoken. It was right on the edge of what was the wall separating east and west, and the east had just opened. So cities like Budapest and Bratislava and Prague and Warsaw, these were just opening and not yet gentrified, and some parts of these cities hadn't even been renovated or reconstructed since the end of World War II. So it was a great opportunity to see history of the last even 40 years and that sort of thing. Very exciting. And, too, these economies were relatively poor, new legs underneath them and that sort of thing. So as a poor college student to travel there, you felt, from the West, you felt like super wealthy. I don't know. So, yeah.
So getting into the whole Christmas spirit thing, have you been to a Weihnachtsmarkt before? I'm sure you probably have.
Oh, yeah, sure. So my first experience with a Weihnachtsmarkt, Christmas market, was when I was living in Unna, West Germany, not far from Dortmund. And I had heard about them from my classrooms in high school, but it's always different when you first experience it. And my host brothers, Ulrich and Albrecht, said, the Weihnachtsmarkt, we have to go. And I said, oh, great. So these will appear in towns and cities, usually near the Marktplatz, which is central to these places, during Advent, so the 4 Sundays before Christmas. And the things that I remember about it are kind of visceral things, like the smells. They will have candied roasted almonds, and you can smell them all over the market. And then they have Glühwein, which is a hot mulled wine, and just those smells. But you walk around in the sites, and it'd be in the evening, and they'll have Gebäck, they'll have any kind of baked goods and that sort of thing also at these places. And it's just a wonderful scene. It's the other thing that's really neat is there are things that you can get if you're interested that you maybe can't find other places. So like folk kunst, which is a folk artwork from the Erzgebirge, and some people are familiar with these. If you think of Großknacker, a nutcracker, or a Räuchermännchen, a little smoker person, little dude. These are found at Weihnachtsmärkte, at the Christmas markets. Yeah.
We have questions over here. What inspired Mr. Dumke to have his students do their holiday caroling? We really enjoyed it.
What inspired the singing?
That's from
Well, I
Brian
have
Week.
such talented students, so I have to share that talent. I love Weihnachtslieder, so Christmas carols, and it's a nice way to bring music in. I grew up in a household that had music, so my parents are both classical musicians, so I had the compulsory, piano lessons and played horn and bass at one point. And one thing that I did a lot of was singing, and it's something that beyond knowing German and sharing that, it's nice to be able to share the singing. And the kids seem responsive, and they like to take it on the road, and so we go and visit a few classrooms and offices and sing a little bit.
I remember my freshman year when I was in your class, we had Cameron Freeze say Rotan. And Mom, I think we should continue that tradition and have him do it this year also.
Yes, well, let's bring Cam on here. He's got a great voice, a lot to contribute. I would love that. I think you'd get a greater viewership and more people listening.
So I know this is probably more freshmen than sophomores, but do you ever get students when you're talking in German, they just don't understand what you're saying, so they just look at you with a really confused face?
Sure. I would hate to speak for my other colleagues, but I imagine that confused face you see in maybe chemistry and other subject areas, right? It's tough because if you really wanted to. You don't have much of a basis, and we try to keep it to themes where they've gained some confidence and that sort of thing. Try to use language that they know, and then you want to reinforce that a lot with things, and slowly they get there. What's really interesting is I'll talk with my other German colleagues, and French, Spanish, Latin too, as well here at this district. But you see them in 8th grade, these students, and then they come through this building and they go on to Nash and study, and you hope that they can take the full sequence. And what students know at the end of this articulation as seniors compared to what they had started with is a great deal. So it's increased proficiency and that sort of thing, and that's very exciting to see that growth.
This is completely random, but why were you guys watching Frozen yesterday?
So Eiskönigin. Well, it's funny. We like to. You were asking about the German. We like to share a film right before it started and then right after a break, and we view it in German with German subtitles. The students have to answer X number of questions, and we try to choose familiar movies, okay, so that the kid, because it's a lot, to understand what's going on. But with the familiarity, which Eiskönigin, Frozen, a lot of kids know, helps in terms of answering the questions. And then we thought it lent itself well because the Eiskönigin 2, the Frozen 2 came out this year. It's like, oh, this is a perfect match. So, yeah.
Do you ever mix up German and English outside the classroom?
Well, it's funny. Somebody was just asking about this yesterday.
I do that with Latin.
See, yeah, it's funny.
I'll
those-
say "et" instead of "and."
Yeah, it's funny. Certain words come to me more quickly, and it's not even like a translation thing. Like I'll think of, casa, and won't think of the English. My experience, it depends how much time I've been spending in the target culture. So, like if I'm at the end of my immersive experience, my end of my junior year in college in Vienna, I'm thinking, dreaming in, German. And if I'm away from it a little bit, then I'm not thinking as much in German. So it depends the exposure at the moment.
Okay. Well, sometimes like I speak my mother tongue to my parents, and then I start mixing up French because I take it at school, and they get really confused. Like I try practicing my French with them, and they don't know like what I'm talking about.
That's interesting. I took a semester of Spanish, and I found that my German would influence my Spanish. My Spanish professor was like, "What? Where are you from? Where are you from?" So, and then when I would be studying, it would the first foreign language would kind of interrupt, that. But the other thing, maybe you found this, I found that what a lot of people don't realize, especially in America, where they maybe study one foreign language, if they study it at all, you've learned how to learn a foreign language, and you don't realize that till you start to pick one. What's your mother tongue?
It's Tamil. It's like Indian.
How do you get that mixed up with French?
It's really confusing. I just like started talking, and then I'm like trying to figure out the French translation.
Wait, say something.
No.
Well, it's symbols. It's symbols that are in our head in decoding, and then when you go into that decoding mode, whatever your language is, that's what happens.
I was reading a book, and it was one of the Percy Jackson books. At one point, they had it said "Ecce Files Romani," and instead of reading that like a normal voice, like how you normally read a book, I read it in that translator voice you have, and it comes out, "Look, Roman men," and I was like, why? It's the translator voice.
Yeah.
The translator voice we all have. It's really annoying, but really helpful.
I think I saw somewhere that like when you like talk in a different language, you subconsciously change personalities. I'm not sure if that's true, but I feel like it's true for me. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out. No, I was just thinking about your thing. I get mixing up Tamil and like Punjabi.
Oh yeah.
I get that because they're like similar areas.
I wouldn't know. I don't know Punjabi.
I was watching a Lily Singh video,
Yeah.
and she was yelling at her mom, and then she starts yelling at her mom in Tamil,
Oh yeah.
and her mom just says, "What?"
Yeah.
So what's the longest German word that you know?
German words are really long.
So German is famous for its compound words. You can just keep adding them. Incidentally, they're famous for super long Zeta, long sentences. They'll just add a comma and a conjunction and that sort of thing on the whole page before you see a Satz, a sentence in.
Is that
But
grammatically correct?
It is actually. I know in English we don't tend to do that so much. But the longest one that I can think of, gotta take a deep breath before I get started, is die Donau-Dampfschifffahrtsgesellschaftskapitänsbrennens-Empfangbescheinigung.
Please tell me that's a really short word in English. I kind of hope it
It's
is.
several.
What?
So it's several words. So that's just one word, and it's the
No.
the equivalent is something like the Danube Steamship Company's widowers pension, something like that, and that's a word. So
What?
How interesting. So you said that you lived abroad a couple of years. Would you rather live in Germany now or live in the US?
oh, I like I love living abroad. I love traveling, and I love Pittsburgh. My wife and I, we have 3 kids. My wife doesn't speak German. We've had the kids abroad, and they've been exposed to German, but they didn't, at their schools, they didn't offer German. They didn't study it much. And I would use it at home a little bit, and it just, it wasn't totally natural with my wife not speaking and that sort of thing. So they've had some exposure and that sort of thing. But what I mean with that is, I like living abroad, and I think my kids and wife would enjoy that too. But we also have a lot of roots here so what it'll be is maybe long visits in the summer or other times that we'll take advantage of.
So you mentioned that you have kids. Whenever you're mad at them, you just go off on a tirade in German.
It sounds scary if I say it in German,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I do that. Or if there's things that I don't want them to know I'm saying, I'm like, but I think they figure that out. So
I feel like German is the second most scary language behind Russian.
you think?
Yeah.
What's
Because
the
someone yells at
what's
you.
like the
in Russia.
angriest German word?
Oh, there's a lot. But there's a lot. I mean, as you can imagine too. I mean, there's great poetry in German, lyric and that sort of thing. So, but I know to a speaker it sounds, or to a non-speaker it sounds.
Angry?
It can sound angry. It can, sure.
Yeah, I know, because when I first started, this is gonna sound really mean, but I don't remember what her name was. But it was really intimidating to start off with because the words are obviously really long, and there's like so many things that play into the whole speech and all that stuff. So I would understand if it was pretty intimidating.
Yeah, and it's that way with any foreign language. People talk about one language being easier than another. It's all symbols that you got to decode, and the trade-offs might be German and it's different adjective endings, but then you have I don't know, for instance French and its verbs and that sort of thing. So it's just trade-offs in terms of it's all tough when you're just starting, and then you get to a point where hey, I've had this exposure and it's easier.
Are you, by any chance, any percent German?
It's funny. A lot of people think, oh, he teaches German. He's got to be totally German. I'm a real mix. I mean, I got Scottish in my background. I think the greatest percentage is Czech, but Bohemian. So from the German-speaking part of what was the Czech, what is today the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia, because there's a Bohemian, there's a German-speaking area. So there is that German, and then like I mentioned, my maternal grandmother earlier, she spoke Pennsylvania German. My family's in both my side, my parents' sides, in the States a long, long time, but there's not a lot. It's not just German. I got a mix of things.
This is a random question. Like I've just been asking just like kind of random questions that are totally off topic. Have you been binge watching any shows recently? Or like, I don't have any as teachers, so.
Yeah, there's a few that I like to watch. Yeah, so Netflix and that sort of thing. There's a few, so.
What are they? Can you tell?
Well, I'll just say that there's some that. So.
Because I know Mr. B will, when he's on lunch break or whatever, he'll either watch like Nancy Drew or something, or he loves Endgame apparently.
Yeah.
Because every time I walk in on him, like the one time he yelled at me because he's watching Nancy Drew and he was very busy with that. So, wow.
A film that I've watched, it's not a series. I mean, there are series that I've watched, but a film right now that I don't usually watch films, more than once, but that I've seen I think 3 times. Once with my 15-year-old daughter, and then a few other times. Always Be My Maybe.
I love that movie.
I know, I like that movie a lot.
Wait, what was that movie about? What is that movie?
It's like some cook. And then there's like a plumber.
Like I recognize the name.
It's
Yeah.
like a cheesy Hallmark movie, but
Is it a
it's more
book?
modern.
I feel like it's a book. I don't know.
I feel like that's how I know it.
Oh, I watched it over the summer with my family. It's pretty good.
Yeah, check it out.
Has your daughter ever showed you Mean Girls? Because I'm sure she's like 15 by now. It's probably classic.
She's not shown me that, but it's funny. She has shared some things, and then my wife and I try to bring her up to speed on certain classics, from when we grew up or even older.
That's what my parents are doing.
Yeah.
We watched Gremlins a few months ago. That's a good one. Gremlins. We recently watched Back to the Future, and
Yeah,
the weird
series
part
is
about
good.
it was we watched Back to the Future, and the date in Back to the Future is October 26th. We watched it on October 26th.
There it was, huh?
It's like not planned. Like we went to the Franklin, and my dad was like, "Let's watch Back to the Future when we get home." We're like, "Okay, whatever."
There it was.
October 26th.
Okay.
So has she showed you anything where you're just like, I don't care? Like,
Or like you don't like
that's
it.
teenager stuff. I don't.
We were watching Marvelous Mrs. Mrs. Maisel
Oh, yeah.
together. Yeah. So we were watching that together, and then we were watching together. So something that I shared with her was Cheers, the old series. Watching that together, which was a classic from when I was like your age. So
It's nothing too bad yet.
yeah.
Have you watched Ghostbusters with her yet?
Yeah,
That was something
Ghostbusters,
that-
Indiana Jones, and the original Star Wars. I mean,
My sister's never seen the original Star Wars. I'm like I'm so disappointed in
Neither have I.
yeah, she got to check that out.
I don't watch modern movies with my dad. I just realized that. Like my dad and I don't watch modern movies, and when I watch movies with my mom, I fall asleep.
My parents occasionally find a Bollywood movie for me and they, like make me sit down and watch it. Yeah, that's pretty.
I think the only like modern movie I think I'll watch with my dad over break is I'm going to sit him down and we're going to watch Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's
Yeah.
it. Because he liked doing it. It was so good. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the new Star Wars movie?
Oh yeah, I considered going last night, but then I was like, I got a function today.
Yeah, I know Mr. Gaggle went yesterday at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, he's a big fan. I think. Yeah. No, I can't wait to see it.
Same.
It's on my
very
to-do list.
excited.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of movies I wanted to see in theaters and I haven't. Like Star Wars, I'm not going to get to that. Like, I'm not going to be able to.
We've been waiting for it to come out. Many of the movies, but the one that we just saw, I went with my kids to see it. And I was like, I want to see this. It wasn't that I was necessarily indifferent, but it was a movie that I went to see, and I was like surprised in a way that, I thought it was going to be this good, and I thought it was really good. Was A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood? Yeah,
It was so much better than I thought it was.
Yeah, I went thinking, I'm intrigued. I remember I've run into Mr. Rogers, because I live in town, see him in Squirrel Hill and that sort of thing. But so I did want to go see a local hero story and that sort of thing. But it's more about the reporter, I think, than it is about him. So I really enjoyed that, though.
It was very good.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I don't know.
Neither did I.
I know
I wanted to.
my mom is like a huge fan of him, and my brother and I had watched him a couple of times, but the expectations weren't very high. And going in, as I said, I thought it was gonna suck, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was good.
I feel like those are the good movies when you don't have high expectations.
Right. Don't oversell it. Right.
Like I remember
Undersell.
I saw
Overperform.
Love, Simon, and I ended up reading the book, and I liked the book. I was like, it's the movie. I don't know how good it's gonna be. The book was really good. This guy doesn't even look like the main character. And then I watched it. I was blown away because it wasn't. The story wasn't really the same, but the message was, and so it ended up being still like a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite actors was in it, so
That doesn't matter.
Technical difficulties.
what?
I have a computer.
All right.
Oh.
Do you want to move away from
I'm
it?
gonna yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Mia, what's your postcode?
Oh, what?
So I'm gonna have to
It's-
hit the class.
Oh, okay,
Do you have any other questions? I've really enjoyed this. This is very.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank
This is
you.
really a nice experience. Hope everybody has a nice break.
You too.
Doesn't think about school too much.
Never.
It was originally.
I turned off the
Oh, like going off of the live stream.
Do we need to cover the live stream?
No, I have the.
How many
thing.
people are
It's
you
next
interviewing
to
today?
three.
Yeah. I think we're interviewing 9 people, right?
We've
On the
interviewed.
period.
We're going to be interviewing 10. I think.
Oh, okay.
Because we did
Wow.
Metzger.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
leaving.
is there a way to view this
Yeah.
You too.
You should
later?
tell all your classes
Yeah.
about our live stream. It's in, if they have Instagram, they can go to the NAI Instagram. It's in the bio, like the links there. Or you can Where is there the link anywhere else?
So we can view
all the
this
students should have gotten an
not
email
live,
today.
like can we go back and see,
Yeah.
It will be live today.
it'll be live today, but you can go and see
Yes.
the older stuff.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
for
I'm pretty
the
sure.
meeting?
Yeah.
It
You
might
just have to
there is an
edit it.
email.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I think when you
Good
go on a
luck
live
to all.
stream, you can go back.
Okay, there's like 0% confidence.
So can they hear us right now?
I turned off all the.
Did I would ask me.
Okay, so do we need to figure out how to plug this in?
Yeah, because Mr. Hall has the charger connected to the orange thing, so because he unplugged it from the Mac.
Oh, how inconvenient. I don't trust him. with
I'm gonna
any
stay for
technology.
period 3, but I won't do the interview.
Okay, yeah, I
I'm
will.
leaving
It's-
period 3 and I'm coming back 4, and then I'm gonna talk with Hildy, I think.
Wait, who is that? I can stay for 2, 3, and 4.
Who was he?
That was Dempsey.
Yeah, that was empty.
For some reason, I keep mixing up him and Hildy. Burns?
Does he fit in this album?
Burns.
No.
Do you have one?
I did last year. She moved up to be the goal teacher.
Okay.
She was my Latin teacher. She's great. We're gonna have some Latin moments,
Okay.
and only the Latin kids will get if I say a random Latin joke.
Somebody's
Only she-
sick. I forgot. One teacher's
Yeah.
sick.
Who?
It was like Magistra.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we
she
already-
already
You
fixed that.
replaced her.
Oh,
Okay.
who with who?
Because you had her second period.
We
and then you
had
replaced
With
her with
Deputy.
And
Oh.
then we had McNavage, but then no one looked. No one looked to
came
see
in,
like
like,
he had
today.
anything off.
And said that we had to
I
replace
think it's like
somebody
semester
period.
2 he has prep
What?
instead of semester 1.
I forget. Mr. Hall came in when we were talking. You were talking with Debke, and he was like, "Oh, do you know another good language teacher because blah 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 is sick."
Dr. Dan.
But I think he got someone else, but I don't know who.
Oh, well,
It's a language teacher.
Where
Unless
is
it,
he? Okay.
maybe
I don't know,
maybe
I'm
she's
actually
not
looking
looking for him. Oh yeah, I have good period 3.
This cake is fire.
All right, let's figure it. So who's next period?
Burns.
And then who's interviewing her?
Probably Maya and Caitlin.
Who is the next teacher?
Rec.
Rec.
So I don't want to go to math though, so I might just stay here.
Yeah, I had Mrs. Oliver email a bunch of my teachers. Is no one on this live? I can't tell. Because it says nobody. A bunch of people have joined. I'm gonna change it like this way. Okay, wait. Oh, wait. There's 6 people on right now.
Cake on my sweatshirt.
Okay, so let's see. Why is everyone commenting about poop? So,
What did they say?
someone said, ladies, you are doing an awesome job. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is. Okay.
I'll be back 4th period.
Okay.
Who's going 4th? Right. Oh wait, you just told me that.
Oh, wait. I just commented the wrong thing. Oh, well. Oh, well, I don't care. Anyway. I don't know who Mr. Hart is.
But I'll be, and then 5 and 6, I'm like in the playground thing, but I might just come in and watch. Because Mr. Hall's
yeah, I was supposed to do code today for 4 and 5, but I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I had code this period. I'm gonna pause this.
Also,
Wait, who just joined? Oh, I just paused it. It's still going.
So then, who's interviewing Mr. Hall?
probably Caitlin and I.
Okay.
I think Karthik might. I don't know who Karthik is.
Oh, you sign up for it.
Yeah.
Who is anyone else doing Hildy? Because if you need another person, I can find another person.
I'll be down here for 8th period, so I can do.
Okay, nice. Where did everybody else? They went to Mr. Gow's. I wanted to get the Mac so we could get that on there so we could read the question, or like I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured it was not like, and I really don't want
I'm not going in there.
I think I'm just gonna like leave all my classes because then I have journals in my period, so journals are so boring. So, you don't have anything. I never have anything to do, and so I'm just like sitting there. Why is there like nobody out here? All I want to do is make bracelets. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason I signed up, and I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, I don't even see bracelets. Should I look? Where do you look?
Why did Lucas say I love Matt?
There's so many people just saying like, I'll entertain them. Are you sure the mics are off?
Yeah, they should
How
actually.
can
No,
you
they're
tell?
not. I mean, she just muted them, so like.
I want to read the comments. So we have 5 minutes until period 3. Is anybody on?
What does Blev mean?
I was wondering the same thing. I was watching and everyone was commenting like, "Where's Blev?"
Dying.
I was assuming it was in German, but I didn't know.
When the blood gets there.
Is there any questions?
No, they're just
Nobody
talking.
actually answered questions really. For any of the teachers. We only got a couple for Dumpy.
Oh, Mr. Coleman commented.
There were a bunch of teachers on.
Who's Tennessee?
And they were all commenting to each other.
Oh, Blev is a ninja.
Um,
Somebody yell. So it's clearly not muted because they can hear me talking.
do you think that if the mics turn off, they can just hear the computer?
Yeah, it's probably going from the computer.
Maybe it doesn't do anything.
This is really cool. Great job, Mr. Hall, and his hooligans.
His hooligan.
I feel like we should move that closer because. Oh, wait. It's backwards.
What is?
I don't know what they're reading it from, but it looks like emoke.
Oh.
BQ.
I didn't even think about it. What if I was right backwards?
I don't know if it's showing up like that on there, but like.
That is, it means comeback period theory. Oh, that's so sad.
I'm just gonna.
Whose sweater is this?
It's probably Mr. Hall's. If it's a cardigan, then it's.
That's very true. So
Enter.
very excited. It's not online anymore.
Oh, my picture's here. Oh no. Oh, okay. Never mind. We're starting.
I like literally have like it's absurd. Hi. Hi.
We're back.
So
We're watching.
official. I know, I've been watching all morning. I'm like, okay, there's only like 7 people.
Do you
It's
want
gonna be
to?
okay. No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll throw it up.
Fourth period.
Okay.
Where do you want me?
Good luck, everybody.
So professional. I have questions. Like talking through it.
Oh, wait, hold up. Okay, Mia,
Yes.
never mind. I was about to say, it's not on. Maya,
Oh,
does
it's
anyone
on.
want to
Yeah,
join
I'm
us?
I'm just getting the questions.
Okay, cool. Don't be nervous. I feel bad.
I love your
no, It's a
earrings.
good experience
Have we gone
for
Christmas
you and
shopping
me. I have.
for
Okay.
Charlotte?
Charlotte and Chloe.
Chloe, that's
Yep.
the other name.
Yep. Chloe's 4, Charlotte's 1, so it's gonna be
She's
fun.
so big now.
She's huge. It's crazy.
She's like a human.
it's like babies turn into real people or something. It's nuts.
Oh, I can't.
No,
wait.
it's weird. It's a weird time. So when did you know you wanted to like teach Latin?
When did I know I wanted to teach Latin? Well, it's kind of like a hard question. In 9th grade, they didn't offer, I went to Butler High School, and so they did not offer Latin prior to 9th grade. Actually, any language really. You took exploratory in 8th grade and then chose your language in 9th grade. And for me, I decided I wanted to go into Latin because I wanted to be a molecular bioengineer. Like that was that's what I wanted to do with my life. And so I went there and I had this amazing teacher who just like changed my life. I went through like a series of things in high school, and she was like the one Latin teacher in the district. So I had her 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, the whole way through. And I just, over the course of that relationship that I had with her, I was like, oh, this is what I actually want to do with my life. So I changed my mind at some point in there. So
I feel like that's every Latin teacher though, because there's so few of them.
there's not a lot of us now.
You get so close with them, and they're like the sweetest people too.
Oh, well, I'm glad you think that.
You're the reason I took Latin again.
Yay,
I
that's
wasn't
good.
going
That's
to
kind
because I
of
was
the point.
struggling for like half the year until I had that aha moment of, oh, I know how to do
I can do
accusative
this.
now.
Yay! That's good. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah,
We want you
it
to
was-
do better.
Your Latin class was amazing.
Thank you. What did you think about it? So I can keep doing it over and over.
Why did you choose to be the gold teacher now though?
So it actually wasn't a choice. So a lot of times, Latin classes especially, sometimes our numbers fluctuate. And on any given year, like it depends. Sometimes we have more Latin classes, sometimes we have less. And on years when we have less, I'm lucky I work for a school district like I do, and they're like, okay, let's find a way for you to fill your schedule. So goal was there for me, and I have to tell you, I love it. I love it, and
What
I
do you
didn't
do?
know. What do I do? That's
Like, I feel like I
question.
always hear about gold kids,
Yeah.
but it's just like, let's go on field trips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do a
so
bunch of
that's
stuff.
what everyone thinks we do is just like we just go on field trips and we just a party down there all the time, right?
Yeah.
You know? Which, not to say that we don't have fun, but I work with a great team of teachers down there. There are 6 of us total in the office, and sure, IOs are a part of it, where we are organizing field trips, and there's a lot of logistics that go into that, but we spend great majority of the beginning of the school year focused on writing GIEPs for students. GIEPs are they're documents, they're legal documents for if you need a little bit of extra enrichment, like if you're not getting enough out of the regular education curriculum. It's like a document that says like, hey, we can do some more stuff and like help enrich you in different ways. So, and that's where the rest of my job comes into play, where I, help with the IOs. But we do things during lunch periods and during homerooms that maybe aren't just, hey, we're leaving the school. We have a whole bunch of different things that we do at any given time. So, yeah, there's a lot.
I didn't know gold was all of that.
It's all of
I
that.
just thought it was field trips.
No, it's not. No, we do. I know just yesterday there was science bowl practice after school. It was open to like a whole bunch of kids. There were like, I don't know, probably 15 kids that were there, just answering some science questions, learning some more about all things science. And like it's from my perspective, it's great too, because like I said, I have these 2 young kids at home of my own, and so to see all the programs that are out there that I wasn't even aware of. And I keep going on. I have this one that I just found the other day. It was called Cubes in Space, where like you get to design a little experiment that fits in a 4-inch cube. And if they like your experiment, you submit an application, they'll send it up into space. And like on a NASA rocket, off it goes. And then they give it back to you so you can see the results of your experiment. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
I didn't even know stuff like that existed.
Okay, so I remember last
Yeah.
year in class, you said you played the viola.
Viola, violin. Violin was like my
Okay.
main whenever I was in high
Do you
school.
still play?
I still have my violin. I've taken it out a few times. I'm not nearly as good as I once was. So, no is the short answer. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that as Chloe and Charlotte grow older, that they'll take an interest in an instrument. Maybe that'll help rekindle it a little.
Wait, I just realized Charlotte's going to be in kindergarten next year, isn't she?
Chloe will. Yeah,
Chloe.
Chloe's the
I always
older
get
one,
them
but
mixed
yeah,
up.
she'll be in the kindergarten. Her one gift that she's asked for Santa, her like big special gift, she wants a real guitar with real strings that plays real music.
I
Very
remember
excited.
Not
I
fake
asked for
music.
one. It was like a tiny pink guitar.
Oh, see, you'll appreciate this. We got our ukulele.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured like
her.
she won't know the difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Let's just hope she's not watching.
I don't think she is. I think we're safe.
What's your favorite goal IO that you've been on? so
The
far?
favorite one that I've been on so far. Well, it's hard because I haven't been on a ton. We went recently on the architecture tour, which was through the Pittsburgh Landmarks Foundation, and they do a really great job of taking you to places in downtown Pittsburgh that you have walked through a million times if you've gone to any of the art festivals or if you go down there for any of like the celebrations they have for the summer. And all of these places you've been to that have these amazing, unique histories that you didn't know before. Like I maybe people know this and I have just been here, but I didn't know that a third of Pittsburgh burned down. Like I had no idea that there was like a huge expanse.
I feel like you vaguely remember.
I didn't know that. I had
Like
no idea.
in third grade, we went on like a downtown Pittsburgh walking tours. I vaguely remember something about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's New York. That happened in New York too. So
Well, it was just there, and they point out all these cool things. Like there's a placard right. I can't remember which street it's on now, but it shows you like this is the line where the fire stopped. So like it's crazy to think like, oh, all of this from here to like the point, it was all gone at one point. So yeah, so that one was pretty cool.
I come from Georgia, so a lot of the architecture
that.
that's built. Really?
Yeah,
So a lot of the architecture that was built there was built during the Olympic Games, like before then, when the Olympic Games were hosted in Atlanta. So there's nothing really architectural to go there. So I don't have any of that experience.
Well, I highly recommend because they do these tours all the time. Like you don't have to be a goal student to get in on the tour. So seriously, like go on one of those Landmarks Foundation tours. They're so cool.
Just not now. It's too cold.
Just
Not
not.
sponsored.
It was very cold. We were outside for 2 solid hours, and this was like a week and a half ago.
Oh.
So it was cold, a little chilly.
When we went on the journalism trip, they decided it'd be a fun time to go to
The monument.
to see the monuments
At
because
10
Saturday
p.m.
night it was going to rain. So we went to Chinatown for dinner. And we're like, let's all meet up here. We're going to go see the monuments. It was 9:30. We got there at 10. We left at like 11.
Okay.
And then they expected us to get up early the next morning and had us all walk there. Now, here's the fun part of the story. All the teachers Ubered back and left the one senior in charge.
Because it's like some of us can't get an Uber because we're below like 16, so we all had to walk back for 30 minutes.
It was 2 miles from our hotel. It was like 30 degrees. It was windy.
But you survived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
And here
It
you
was,
are.
it was terrible. Because it was cold and it was dark, so you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you couldn't like go into the Washington Monument. We just took pictures and left. But it like we walked halfway to the Lincoln Memorial and then turned around because we had 15 minutes.
Oh goodness.
I'm calling you out, Mr. Hall.
For leaving us. Then they let us sleep in the next morning, so that was fine because we were supposed to go to something in the daytime. Okay, that was our trip.
Cool.
How How was your high school experience in general?
Like, what did you
Yeah.
do?
Like overall,
Yeah.
it was good. I mean, I was obviously very active in Latin in our JCL chapter that we had there. I don't know. I like to play tennis. Violet Field. I feel like we kind of talked about the majority of it already. Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It was good.
Did you go to convention at all?
I did. I
At
went to
JCL?
convention every
Are you
year.
going this year?
I was in high school. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not. I missed too many meetings. so
Oh,
I can't
no.
make up the points. This happened last year. I just decided, you know what, I can't make up the points. I'm not going to Saturnalia. I have too much going on this week.
Okay. Well,
So
it's part of growing up, right? You got to make those hard choices.
I felt bad for it. Saturnalia
We'll
is
miss
the
you.
best part of
Convention-
JCL.
Well, Saturnalia is great. Convention's great.
I didn't know I needed bread and honey in my life until I tried it. And now I know.
And now you know.
It's part of it. Okay, what is your favorite Latin character?
Grumio, hands down. Like I don't
Okay.
even have to think about it. He's like that friend that he like does things that are funny, but you know.
Questionable.
Yeah, yeah. But he is by far, I think, the most entertaining character in our textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the difference between Latin and like every other language besides it's like not spoken? Like
Well, I feel like that's the
books
big
and
one.
the stories. Which like the books and the stories, like I've noticed some fun differences.
Well, and I feel like that's a hard question for me to answer because it's not like I know
Oh,
all the
yeah.
other.
I
Right?
just-
Like I know
yeah.
I speak English and
Yeah.
I know Latin, and that's about it.
I
So-
feel like if you were to look at a French or French or
Spanish.
Spanish book, you would see like, oh, Pedro went to the park.
I will say there was last year I did teach an exploratory
They're a
Spanish
lot more
course,
tame.
and I was pleasantly surprised because I knew that there were similarities since Spanish is derived from Latin.
Yeah.
I knew that there were going to be things that were similar, so it was very interesting at that introductory level to see like the vocabulary, how similar. it
The
was.
stories though, they're so dull.
Oh, well, it's less soap opera, a little bit more like a thematic unit. So,
I want
yeah.
to see our main characters just like killing each other.
Oh my
sometimes.
goodness. Hey,
It happened multiple times.
it's true.
Well, then again, there's Les Miserables, and that's French literature. You see a lot of people.
Is that your
dying in
textbook though?
Oh, it's not. Did you guys have like a textbook of Latin literature?
Well, it's not
Soap opera.
it's not authentic literature at the beginning levels, but it does follow a storyline.
And
So-
some things are the same, aren't they? Like that actually happened. Like the whole
There-
Nukarian thing.
well, and like you know, I think back to 8th grade, like Hercules, yes, he was a real life. guy.
Yeah, we do have like real people, but not.
But the
Not all of
stories
them.
themselves are not necessarily.
Yeah. Some of them are.
Historically
Some of them
accurate.
are historically accurate though.
Oh,
I thought
as you
told
get a
us
little
the
bit
Nukarian
older.
one was.
Well,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the one I remember.
gotcha.
Yeah, there was a story about
With the riot.
a riot happening and people dying.
Oh, fun.
But it was all at a sporting event, you know,
Oh yeah.
Coliseum.
Yeah, I will say that's probably the most unique difference about Latin is we tend to focus more on like the reading and writing, and so there's less of a let's talk about the numbers in
Yeah.
8th grade or let's talk about the colors, and it tends to be more like
Yeah.
let's just read these stories and
Can you pronounce numbers in Latin?
yeah. You'll learn them when
Oh,
you're
wait,
like a senior.
I have. There's like unas and duos.
You guys don't
Traits.
know numbers.
We don't know colors. I know Albus because it's a
How
Harry
is the
Potter
Latin
character.
curriculum like put together? Because I notice people are always telling me how they know like how to say to die and about death and everything,
It's
but they
true.
don't know their numbers. And I'm just
Yeah, we
Well,
know.
it's much more based, like I said, it focuses primarily on those stories. So as you get a new story, you get a series of words that don't necessarily coordinate with each other
Yeah.
as easily as something like colors or numbers. So you basically just read the stories and pick up words along the way. The stories are written so that the vocabulary that you get tends to be like the high-profile vocab words that you see in Latin literature. So hypothetically, if you continue with your studies the whole entire way, you'll have a good basis of words that you can use to study more authentic things in high school.
You just get to say fun things though. Like if you take Latin, you get to say like much blood flows, and like It was a story about a barber
Oh.
getting like cut in the neck.
Oh.
Because it's so dramatic, you gotta say much blood flows.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a soap
definitely a
opera.
different kind of, it's a different language. That's for sure.
What would you say to people who are like, Latin's a dead language? Why would you take that?
Well, funny story, my grandfather actually, when I told him I was going to college for Latin, he said to me, he's like, good luck ever finding a job. So, I don't know. I think the phrase dead language doesn't really, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but I feel like it's not dead. It's all around us. It's just, it depends on your
Is it
perspective.
because it's roaming around?
I've
I've used that so many times.
But I do feel like it's more ingrained in our culture. Like you look at things and you see your architecture and like the columns, and you look at our literature and you look at the words and the derivations. And is it dead? No. Is it unspoken? Yeah. Like nobody speaks it anymore, and I get that. But it's definitely trickled into all sorts of areas of our culture.
Do you get to sound like you're summoning a demon? Yes.
Sometimes.
Okay, so what's this teaching outside the textbook? So let me think of like,
If
how
you
many
could-
questions are like outside the
You could
textbook?
live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
You know what? I don't know. I'd probably be like that crazy person who has like a camper and travels the world like
I want to
that.
be that person.
I don't know that
You just like want to see the world.
I just want to explore. Yeah, I would be much more happy living like right here in Pittsburgh and then just traveling constantly. My husband and I, well, my whole family, we were really big advocates for national parks. So like, we go every summer we try and visit as many as we can all over. Last year we went to Colorado, and it's beautiful. So like I don't know. I feel like I don't want to stay in one place all the time.
Okay, would you rather go somewhere hot or cold? Like tropical
Definitely.
or like rain? not
Like
rain.
forever?
Not forever, but like for a long period of time. Like you're retired.
You're probably cold if I had to pick. Why? Well, because you can always put more layers on and warm up. But at a certain point, like, I don't know.
You just gotta
You
do
just got to deal with the heat. Like, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
I don't know. I like tropical places. I like warm, sunny beaches. I want to go on a marine biology, not because I like the warm, sunny beaches. That's just a plus.
Oh, it's like a bonus.
It's a bonus.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can't like get me to give you a firm answer,
Okay.
but fall is my favorite season. Like it's crisp, it's cool, it's got like the leaves and the colors.
Oh,
I
great.
feel like in Pittsburgh, though, there is no in between. There's like
It's very
3 days.
short. It's
There are
true.
3 days. It's either like 80 to 90 degrees until the middle of October. Then there's like a week of 60-degree weather that's nice.
And it's
And
beautiful.
then it's 30 degrees.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I hate it when it's just cold and it doesn't snow. That's the worst part, like ever. Because like I was in
So that's
Georgia,
Pittsburgh winter.
like in Georgia, it was just like warm, and then when it like snowed even like maybe like half an inch, everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's a blizzard outside."
You don't know what that is.
Yeah, and like so we got school canceled a lot whenever it snowed, but then eventually it just like became really hot during the summer. So I never had to deal with snow until I came here, and now I'm just tired of it.
Just you're over.
It was, yeah. Like, that's how I feel like if you came from another place and now live here, you're over the snow.
Yeah.
But if you lived here, you're like, you're still over the snow, but it's so exciting when it happens.
I do think it's funny. I have my sister-in-law. She lives further south, and anytime they get snow, she lives in North Carolina. So anytime they get snow, it's like she doesn't have to go to work. Like anyone who's on the road, it's gridlock. It's terrible. And I'm talking like snow, teeny little bit. And then meanwhile here we get 3 inches, and it's like, all right, off to school. Here we go.
12 degrees, let's go.
Yeah.
What do you think is the difference between teaching middle school and high school?
Middle school and high school. Well, you guys are much more independent up here. Much more.
Yeah.
Middle school, and it's funny, teaching as many different schools as I've taught at, and as many different levels as I've taught at, and subjects, I guess, too. it's funny because I feel like the first time I meet a student, it almost like that is how I remember you for a very long time. And so sometimes, I'll teach you in 7th grade and then not see you until 9th grade. And in my brain, you're still like this little 7th grader.
Yeah,
but then you grow up and it's like we were saying earlier, like it's like you became like a person, like a real big person.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like the difference, it's like elementary school, you're a small protected child. Middle school, you're a small protected child, but like, we're gonna let you think you're an adult and we're gonna let you do some things. You get into high school and they're like, okay, time to go to college. And we're like, wait, what? I just got here.
I hate it when people are just like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I have no idea.
I'm not grown up yet.
See, I can answer that question.
Yeah. Middle school, and I do love teaching middle school because I feel like it's such a hard, awkward age.
Yeah, you're a great middle school teacher. I just want to say, like, there are middle school teachers who are like, they're just a middle school teacher. They're not going to let you have these responsibilities. They're still going to like shepherd you through your way, but they're just a middle school teacher. They're a middle school teacher, but there are people like Mr. Frasca who seems like a high school teacher.
Right, there's like, well, you have to remember too, and it is hard when you look at it from my perspective as like, this is my career and this is my job, right? Is to take you from when you come in middle school, and I as a language teacher, I don't see you until 7th grade, but there you are, 12 years old, right? And I know what's coming in 9th grade. Like, I know that you're gonna come up here and be like, wait, what? Right? So our job in those years is to like give you enough that you can start to be a little bit more self-sufficient, and not so much that you're just gonna shut down and I don't know.
Yeah, you leave that for the high school teachers.
So I mean, it's a hard age, but I do love it.
I feel like the biggest thing between middle school and high school is like, they're very similar except for phones. The middle school phones are so different. I was thinking about this last night and I was like, I could never survive in middle school now that I've had high school.
Yeah.
Because like I'm so used, like if we finish a math test, I go on my phone. Like I turn it in. There's nothing to do with it. I go on my phone.
Well, I feel like that's
and
where you start to get a little bit more responsibility.
I can put in earbuds and like watch Netflix with my friend for the last like 5 minutes. We watched The Office one time. It was good.
Of like 9th grade, I would take out my phone. I'm like, wait, I don't think I'm supposed to have it out. And then I'd remember and I'd be like, whoa, this feels like a whole new world. Like no one's gonna stop me.
Imagine what it's gonna be like when eventually you go off and grow up, become a real person, right?
Yeah, that's the scary part.
But
I don't want to.
It's not. You know what? I'll tell you the secret that every adult probably doesn't want to tell you is that we never really grow up. Like you are who you are, and your life changes and you have new experiences. But at the end of the day, like I feel like I'm gonna be the same as I was back in high school. Like that's my personality. That's who I am. And you learn things along the way, and you can change your mind and open your perspective to different things. But you're still just a person.
So what would you say to high schoolers here going to college and being independent?
Like advice that I have, learn how to cook. That's a good start.
Doing that.
Know how to do laundry. Like basic human skills.
Oh, yeah.
Like if your parents do that stuff for you, you're gonna have a really hard time whenever you're out on your own. So you know, and then obviously like the standard recommendations, don't get behind on your work, don't procrastinate. But you guys know that.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that you know you're gonna face. So make a good friend group that can help you whenever things are getting difficult, and whenever you're missing home, it's nice to have that group. I have a group of friends even today that we try to get together once a year. We're all over the country. There are 8 of us, but like
wait, that's my mom's
those are our group. So
my mom has a friend group from like middle school and high school, and they're like the 8-ball group, and it's 8 women. One even lives in Spain.
Oh wow!
And so this summer they all majority got to. And it was like 6 of them that got together. We were all in Connecticut because that's where they all met. Like my mom lived in Connecticut. They moved away. I think they moved, and then she moved there.
They're like all over. Yeah.
But they're all over, and
yeah, it's great if you can find them.
Yeah. I don't have that.
Do you ever, or can you procrastinate as a teacher? Like, is that a thing?
I'm sure you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably have done it once or twice, maybe in my life.
All the Latin tests.
No, like it's definitely, but I mean, like I said, we're all still just people,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, you guys, I'm sure, have procrastinated on things in the past.
Yep.
Not that I've experienced it firsthand and all, but, you know, like, sure, you can.
Yeah.
I feel like another big difference between middle school and high school is the rate at which you get tests back and like graded things
Oh,
is
yeah.
so much faster.
Yeah.
Like every day, like I'll take a test and I'll be like, oh no, I wonder what my grade is. In middle school, you have to wait like a week.
Yeah.
And then in high school, you get it back
It's
the
like,
next
poof,
day.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because half the tests are on Blackboard. too.
Yeah.
You
Gotcha.
can see your test. You
Yeah,
just-
I get like my pre-calc tests, like my teacher grades them like so fast, like I get my grade at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Amazing, but like scary.
Yeah.
Well, at least then you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather know than not know. Because then I sometimes forget about the tests. Like if they take too long, I forget that they
That's the
happen.
thing.
And then your
And then-
grade just drops and it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do you got for me?
Wow, I don't, let me think. I have like a bunch of questions. What hobbies do you do? outside of
Hobbies.
school?
Oh, well, I love board games, like a lot. And I'm sure I've talked about this in class at some point. Not like your typical like, oh, let's play Scrabble or let's play, I don't know, whatever else people play, but like really involved strategic board games that take 6 to 8 hours to play. Like
Wait, are you one of those people that like Risk?
Risk is like at the very low
Okay.
bar of anything that we would play.
Okay.
Like we play, I'm trying to think of
Monopoly?
games that we play. No, like Monopoly is not a game we play. Like
Oh yeah.
one of my favorites is there's actually like a Game of Thrones board game. But it's basically like it's the whole entire world and it takes up the whole entire table and you
That's
know.
kind of cool.
Yeah, it's different, but that's what myself and my husband and our friends do. We do that. Actually, you mentioned Risk and
Yeah.
Pandemic. They both had these cool ones that came out where you can only play the game one time. The choices that you make, like you tear cards and yeah, like you have to put stickers on the board and the choices you make along the way.
Play it once.
Yeah. It's like a
Scary.
series of like 8 times or something you play it, and then at the end of it, you either win or you lose, and that's it.
So you super competitive about board games?
Yeah.
You're not very competitive like in life though. I feel like
No, I
you're
wouldn't
like
say that.
not extremely competitive. But I have heard you talk about board games.
Yeah.
And I've been
Well,
like,
that's like my
it's
thing.
kind of scary.
It's my thing. I love it. Like, now I don't go to this extreme, and probably partially because we still have little kids, but like they have board game conventions, and like I could see myself going to these things, and like you just sit around and you play. A dear friend of ours has a Dominion tournament every year. It's like a card game, a strategic card game, and so we do that. Yeah, that's a game.
That's a game I've played. I'm just trying to think of like long games. I feel like that one tried a long time.
I feel like the ones that I play, most people don't know. Okay, easy ones like have you heard of Ticket to Ride?
Yeah.
Okay, Catan.
Oh yeah.
Those are like quick games that
Yeah.
we play. And then there's like the slightly more involved ones that take much longer.
You're not like Trivial Pursuit. I feel like you'd be.
I'm not actually. No, because I have a terrible memory. Like when it comes to just random facts,
When it comes to school facts, I'm like, wait, what? I don't remember
Yeah.
anything. But when it comes to like random trivia, like, did you know it was never a card shark? It's a card shark.
see, no, I had no
That's-
idea.
I don't remember.
What's a
I don't.
card shark?
Okay, it sounds like when you're like playing a game, and the best example is like we say when my mom's like you're playing a thing. Like if you're playing, have you ever played like 500 Realm?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how you have like all the like discard pile.
Yeah.
You can take it. We call my mom a card shark because she'll do that. She'll take the whole pile, but she
okay.
can have like so many pairs.
Yeah.
But it's originally called a card shark. Like this is random stuff that I
Okay, but do you know like why?
because
hard
they're so sharp.
Oh, like intelligence
Yeah.
wise? Okay, all right.
But
No,
it's
it's
just been misheard and people think it's a card shark. I think shark sounds cooler though.
Yeah.
I'll probably still say card shark.
Yeah.
My parents get like my mom will invite her sister over and they'll play Uno. They get extremely competitive. They'll be like banging on the table, and I'm just like terrified.
Phase 10 tends to be our like a quick game that's super competitive. Our friends who always wins. He's so good at it. So when you get the skin card, it's just skin break. Like, that's the rule.
I'm not allowed to play Seen It. It's
Okay.
the Disney game.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know why, but I'm like pretty good at like Disney trivia. But I have played it so many times, I've also kind of memorized the order of some. So I know the first like name the character question is John Smith from Pocahontas.
You need to like get a new volume or something.
I'm not allowed to play the game anymore. Like no one will play the game with me.
Oh man. Well,
Because I don't win. I'm not allowed to play the game.
you would definitely win if we played. I don't know a lot of Disney trivia.
And it's a lot of like newer Disney trivia too.
Well, I might be
So,
okay
like-
on that.
So like not like newer, but it's like pre-Frozen, like Tangled era,
Yeah.
and then like
Hey, Disney Plus is a
late
thing now.
90s.
We could like, I don't know, gear up for this. Have a Disney trivia lunch or something.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
I know my Alexa, it's like I can actually like do Disney trivia with her. It's the
Yeah.
coolest thing because like technology's taking us over.
Technology's crazy. Can I tell you? So Charlotte, who's my youngest one, she's 20 months old, so she's getting closer to 2. But this was about 3 months ago, and her verbal skills are pretty good. She can communicate really well. She's learned on our Alexa that we have. If she pushes the button, the light comes on, and she can pronounce well enough. She'll say, "Play Baby Shark." So we listen to Baby Shark nonstop. But it's wild to me, like a kid that small can interact with technology so easily. It's insane.
Do you ever have like trouble with technology at school?
Like using it, or
using it. Like
I mean, sometimes there are definitely times, and I feel like the age I am, I'm in a weird place because I can remember not having a computer and I can remember not having technology, but I also, I don't know, I feel like I appreciate it for what it can do. So there are times where I feel like it's longer and it's pain, whenever your computer freezes or the smart boards aren't working or whatever the case may be, but I value it so much. Like, I think about YouTube, right? Like, I had an issue with my dishwasher, and I was like, well, I can call the dishwasher person, or I can just watch this YouTube video, and it was great because I wouldn't have been able to do that, 15 years.
My dad tells me if I don't understand something, just Google it. I says, but I want to ask questions. What if I need to ask a question? Then I have to Google more, and then I'm down the rabbit hole an hour later, and I still don't know the answer. That's my problem with technology.
Gotcha.
We have to put them on like now. So.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Coleman, if you want to do the introduction now.
Wait, so what are we doing?
Mr. Hall wants Eric to play.
Ooh.
Okay.
Have at it. All right. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, that's vegan cake too.
It's vegan cake.
It's vegan cake.
Yeah, it's out. Very cool.
Would you like some?
I'm still gonna say no. I have a whole hot chocolate bar downstairs.
Okay.
It's not fine if you want to.
So next we are having Eric Bloomquist play the saxophone. I don't remember why, but why are we having him play?
He's gonna do the introduction.
Okay, he's gonna do the introduction. Okay.
Really?
Do you have any of the mics?
Well, if do you still want to do the introduction?
She did a great job.
Okay.
Oh, I
if
didn't
you
realize it wasn't
want
supposed
to
to.
like sit in one of those seats, if it's not, we can move to the table. Just have Eric. Okay. I'm gonna point it. Okay, whenever you want to go.
How was Star Wars?
Would you like me to tell you everything about it? Would you like to live stream Star Wars? What would you like to know? Who died? What? Did I just say that out loud? Oh my. What else would you like
Was
to
it
know about
good?
Star Wars? Yes. 8 or 9 out of 10.
Which is better, the original
Well,
trilogy, the prequel trilogy, or this new sequel trilogy?
Number 4, A New Hope, will always be my favorite.
Okay.
Will always be my favorite.
Would you like some baby cake?
What is it?
It's really good. It's cake. It's chocolate cake. Maya, stop cutting cake. Maya, stop. Yes.
He wants it back this way. And he told me to hurry.
Tell Mr. Hall to answer my
Oh, they
text.
definitely heard me just say that.
I'm Eric, and this is Donna Lee by Charlie Parker.
Thank you. Alright.
What time is it?
Are we waiting for period
It's
4?
9:41. Laptop charger?
Yeah, I do. It's in my backpack. Yeah, it's in my backpack.
Alright,
Should I put period 4?
I probably can't unplug my phone.
Yeah.
Mia.
Interview Eric. Do you want to answer some questions? Come back period 4. We're gonna interview Eric.
Oh,
we are?
Yeah.
Okay, have fun. I'm uploading this video. Can I have the laptop charger?
Yes.
Alright, so we're gonna do some interview questions with Eric. Thank you for playing for us. So when did you start playing saxophone?
I started when I was 8 or 9, 4th grade.
Very cool. So do you play all 4? Or-
Yeah, I can play. I've played all 4, but I also have 10 of my favorites.
So you do marching band. I didn't know that. If you have any advice for future saxophone players, what would you say?
Listen to other people play, like anyone you listen to, like, whether that be like the people in your section who you have to like ask for advice for like famous players. Like if you want to be good, you have to listen to people who are good.
So if as a
Okay. Are you planning on being a drum major?
I don't know. I'm getting into this stuff, see if it's any good. You know, whether I want to do it or not.
Nice. Are we just gonna spam questions?
I guess.
Okay.
Ow!
Oh, I started my head. I don't think that's. I'm good.
I didn't know that we were doing this. So,
So what about just like your classes, how's school? I sound like grandma, it's okay.
It's okay. I mean, I feel like sophomore year is not as fun as freshman year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
Who do you like more, me or Stefan?
I don't really know Mr. Stefan that well. All I've seen him is like, marching band, where he's like different, I guess. But I like Mr. B. So.
I do too. Mr. B is pretty cool. Who's your favorite saxophone player, marching band?
I couldn't pick one. I mean, it's just a section. Like, yeah, everyone's kind of friends together. But
That's cool. So you like your section, I'm assuming.
yeah, my section's cool. I feel like we're one of the closest sections. Like, everyone knows everybody, I guess you could say, for the most part.
So I know you guys have a Christmas party every year, and the famous takedown of the AOC Wall video happened last year. Was that a repeat of this year?
No, I didn't go this year.
So that was an interesting video. Would you do it again?
Do what?
Recreate the video.
No.
Oh, okay. Wow, this was kind of dead air. Wait.
Yeah,
All right. So how about let's ask. Where would you like to? Are you going anywhere for Christmas?
No, I'm just staying home. I feel like I think every year I just kind of stay home and just see my family because like a lot of my family lives in the area. Like other people's families like are distant now, like people that have to fly in. But my family, pretty much everyone's in Pittsburgh still.
That's cool. So are you like native to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean I was like until I was 4, I lived in North Hills and Westview, and then I moved here right before Pittsburgh.
Do you have any other hobbies besides playing saxophone?
I play guitar, so I guess. Like, I play guitar probably as much as I play saxophone. I guess you could say. Like, I don't know, because they're good for different things. Like, saxophone, nobody really wants to listen to a person play saxophone by himself. But you have a guy with a guitar and he's singing, okay, now that's something interesting you can listen to. Like, you kind of have to, like, as a musician, like, you have to be able to market yourself, so depending on the audience you're going for. So, like, if you want to be famous and popular, you have to play guitar and piano pretty much, because all pop music has guitar and synth stuff in it. But if you want to like play for musicals or play jazz, you have to play like saxophone, clarinet, and flute. Like you have to be able to double or triple. Like you kind of have to be a marketable person and a desirable person, I guess.
So are you planning on performing professionally like anytime soon?
Not in like foreseeable future, but I mean, my goal is to be able to like play for people. You know what I mean? Like you can always like sit down and just like play a song for somebody, but like the people who can go out and use their instrument to like provide their livelihood, that's like something really special that only people can do.
So are you planning on attending a college that's music based or?
Yeah, I want to go to, right now I want to go to music school, but I don't know what my intended major is. All I know is it's not music ed. It's something else.
You're in a band with Ben Swinehart, aren't you?
Yeah, me, Ben, and some other guys from Nash. We get together, we play stuff, and they write some stuff too. I'm not really much of a writer, but as much as I should and would like to be, I leave that to them.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you guys like do in the band?
We just play. Honestly, if we had an hour rehearsal, 59 minutes would be us playing, because we all just like to play. We don't like talk that much. Like we'll be like, okay, do this again. But like, yeah, I think we're really efficient. Just like to play.
Do you guys plan on like playing for like money, like going somewhere and doing that?
Well, we played in a neighborhood like for Halloween, just like with people going by. But if they're interested, I would definitely be interested in like going downtown and playing. Like, that's something I've wanted to do, but you know, there's some job and stuff like that.
You can busk in Wexford.
The thing is, like, nobody's really, everyone's in their car.
Yeah.
That's true. So,
I know Squirrel Hill has, if you go to the Squirrel Hill Library, busk there.
Okay. So, any other questions do we have?
I think that's about it. I'm sorry we didn't have more planned.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Mr. Hall was like, hey, can I interest you in something?
Yeah, I just found out about it.
Instead of all just like going around and asking people to like come on the podcast, like, oh, they're gonna interview me now. Because
No, I'm not prepared for that.
Yeah. Okay, so
Alright, well, thanks for playing and answering some questions. Alright, who's next? Rec?
Rec, yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be fabulous.
Hopefully not getting.
I just got him out of class.
This is Oliver still outside.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Do they have questions?
I'm pretty sure Matt is on the live stream. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you guys want to do like holiday trivia again?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, what? You guys want to do holiday trivia?
What?
Oh, I was talking to Caitlin.
What did you say?
We could like do something with another one of the teachers
We
and ask
could
them to
do
play a game.
guess the music.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot to ask Kieran if he would let me keep in him asking if Ramadan was Jewish. He did say that.
I'm sorry, but it's been bothering me all day.
He's a freshman.
Okay, let's do holiday trivia. Let's do that.
Do you
want to join me?
Yeah, sure.
No.
This is just like us doing a bunch of random stuff. So fun.
Wait, isn't it Ramadan? That's not Jewish. Wait, is it?
Oh, maybe Mr. Rex.
But then I also have Chris doing with saying that the first ball dropped at midnight.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're gonna do some holiday trivia.
I
and
also
some
recommend edit it out.
We don't know what to do, so.
We hate dead air here.
Or I'll go.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, what Christmas beverage is also known as milk punch?
Hey.
I had to look some up. I didn't know what to do.
Eggnog.
Yeah. What Christmas-themed ballet premiered in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1892?
The Nutcracker.
In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, what was Mr. Scrooge's first name?
Ebenezer. I actually know this. Wow.
Oh, I thought that's.
Are you okay?
No. Oh, okay. Have you seen Miracle on 34th Street?
No.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask that one.
Okay.
How many reindeer are featured in the poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas"?
Like 9? There's only 8 though. Wait, no, there's not. Dash. Okay, so I'm assuming not.
8. Because
8.
apparently there's no Rudolph.
Oh,
What traditional Christmas decoration is actually a parasitic plant?
oh no.
Wait, isn't that like
Mistletoe?
Yes.
Oh wait.
Oh, that's not good.
There's like this Batman.
How romantic.
I know.
These kind of suck. And I was trying to.
What well-known Christmas carol became the first song ever broadcasted from space in 1955?
12 Days of Christmas.
Incorrect.
Sleigh Ride.
Apparently it was Jingle Bells, which I did not know.
Why would they play Jingle Bells in space?
That's a great question. Where's Mr. Weck?
He's not here yet.
You emailed him, right? He's not. come?
I talked to him in the hallway because he never emailed me back.
Okay.
He should be coming. Fourth period didn't start yet.
How? Oh, there's only 2 people.
Well, it's also in between classes.
Okay.
Also, oh god. Oh, what holiday movie sequel includes a cameo by Donald Trump?
Hold on to Lost in New York, the dumbest title there is.
Should we talk about politics, you guys?
Can
Let's
we
make
talk
some
about
people
John
angry.
Mulaney?
Let's talk about how Trump is getting
Yes,
Yes.
he has been
Okay.
impeached. Okay, so I know he's been impeached for 2 charges: obstruction of justice
Congress.
and
No,
abuse
it's
of
not.
power.
It's not justice. It's obstruction of Congress.
Oh, okay.
I always think it's obstruction of justice because that's what you always hear, but I know it's
Yeah.
obstruction.
Okay, obstruction of Congress and abuse of power.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry
can't
to all my
open the door.
Republican friends out there. Yeah, so like, there's a lot. There's a lot of people who are like happy about it, and there's some people who are disappointed. But I feel like the amount of people that are disappointed are just gonna like rally behind Trump in the next election. So
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't pay attention to politics. So.
I just listen to a podcast every morning. Usually, the podcast I was listening to.
the Daily, not sponsored.
But yes, they do stories, except for I haven't been listening to their like.
No, there's 7 people. There's not 1.
Oh, great. Okay, there was
There's
2.
6.
There was 2 earlier.
One is me. There's 5 that's not me because I'm on it.
Oh.
To look at stuff.
Should we
Taco John. I know who Pigmaster is.
I'll call you guys out. You know, I'll give you a shout out, you guys.
Hi, Matt.
Where's Mr. Red?
You
I want
guys.
to ask him where
Coming on. Wait, is he winning hot chocolate? Are they winning hot chocolate or coffee?
It's a $1 certificate. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, you guys, this $1, I'm assuming can only be used for coffee.
I know. I think it's for the cart.
Oh, okay.
cart.
Okay.
Hi, Ashlyn.
You definitely should ask questions because you can
Ashlyn,
win
you wanna tell
money.
them?
Yes, you
I
can
think
win
the most.
$1.
Let's have the 3 of us tell stories from the trip, the DC trip.
I didn't go to the DC trip.
Well, Mia, you can listen to the stories.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you what I did.
Okay.
Just turn it down.
Yeah, what did you do while we were all having fun in DC while like
Yeah, I
schools
kind of
were
want to know what
back?
you guys did.
Okay, so
Ashley,
so
you should tell
I was
the story
room.
of who you met on the bus.
I'm gonna share the rat stories.
Oh, yes.
So, as many of you probably know,
Brendan White was
there was a mouse in our hotel,
Absolutely.
in my hotel room.
Oh, wait, that was yours?
I was the first one to see it.
Oh, that's scary.
So I was standing at the edge of the bed, just like on my phone or something, and something ran under me, and I screamed, "There's a rat!"
I found a rat in Macy's.
But it wasn't a rat, guys. I have an
mouse.
update.
What?
So period 9, when she was coming,
Yes.
so is Lamb.
Oh,
Yes!
And we're gonna. And
you guys, you heard that?
Can I-
Okay, somebody put that on the
Yeah.
Somebody put that on the
Wait.
Instagram because they will definitely
Okay,
get
I
a
have
lot
a
of
very
viewers.
important question that both of them need to talk about.
Okay.
Why is it that more rural places are more conservative and the cities are more liberal? I asked him this in social studies, and Mr. Winchell said, "I don't have time for this. I could go on for hours." And I was like, "Wait,
Okay.
this could be a great."
We're definitely gonna have
So,
a lot of people wanting to talk
For
about
period 9, yeah, because I was talking to Winchell, and he was like, oh, like, it would be fun to do a newlywed game. And I was like, oh, so, like, for part of it, like, obviously not all of it.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess, like, a
We
little,
should
like,
do-
newlywed game between
We
them,
should
like,
do
that's kind of
trivia, like have them do historical trivia.
The competition between Lamb and
Yeah.
Winchell.
We could ask Winchell American history and Lamb European.
Or
Yeah.
like, it could be a
Yes.
competition. That's how you do it.
Yeah, they could ask each other questions maybe. Like they'll probably know more than us. Or I could get out my like study guide, the centimeter. Where's Mr. Red?
How do you spell Winchell?
Should we?
Someone
Does anyone
should
know
go
what?
find
Yeah. Does anyone know his room number?
I didn't have him.
Okay. Well, check the master list. I think his room number would be on there. Oh gosh. Okay.
Okay, who is on?
Does
is Mr.
Does anyone want to run an errand with me? Or run an errand for me?
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
You
Ashlyn,
know-
you need to finish
so-
telling the rat story.
After? Can you tell Mr. Winchell
We have to find
That-
out because I'm getting yelled at.
he's gonna be the
Oh, by
lawyer,
Mr. Hall?
not with
Me,
Rowan.
just DM. I think he's coming.
Can you tell
Never
Mr.
mind. Am I on that?
Can you tell Mr. Winchell
He's going to be interviewed with Mr. Lamb.
He's gonna love
Mr.
that.
Winchell's front hall deal?
Okay, wait. I'm finding Right.
Can they hear me right now?
So,
Probably.
yeah.
Hi,
So,
hear you. I'm Chelsea.
I'll be right. I'll go with So,
Mr. Hall's watching in his room right now.
I screamed, "There's a rat!" And then Sally Cho was also in my room, and she began to freak out, and she like jumped on the bed,
Try 603.
and I ran out of the door, and then security came and gave us a new room. But then but it was like,
talk about how.
and then the security guard told us to change in our own room when someone had just given us new keys. And
mean.
yeah. And then so we got a new room, and I was sleeping, but everyone else, all my roommates were awake, so I was sleeping. And then I woke up, and they were saying that there was another mouse in our new room. And I just went right back to sleep. I was like, okay, whatever, I don't even care.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm just sleeping. I'm gonna have a long day tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's the story, you guys.
It's fun.
Can we see?
Story time.
I had so much fun on that trip.
Saying it was like I learned a lot.
Crazy fun.
Okay, so the people that we got the idea for this from,
Should we shout them out?
Francis Howell North High School in Missouri.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to their YouTube channel right now
I'm gonna go talk to
to
Mr.
comment
Mitchell.
and see if we can get this guy right here. No one can see it, but the guy that did it, I sat next to him. He was really nice. Wait, what?
Yeah, guys. So, how's your day?
What room? Okay, go on. What room?
608.
I kind of want to talk to them, so we should probably switch out the interviews for us. We should talk about something interesting. Okay. Hi guys. Hello. Please say something. We're kind of bored. We want to do something, and we love you guys, and we adore you. You're our
Okay, Maya.
fans. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to
Turn on the post notifications bell. My phone is gonna die.
Okay, I'm gonna
Put
put.
it at 38%.
I'm just gonna say.
Hey,
goodbye.
can you sauce?
Wasn't it just at like?
Yeah, my phone
73?
dies really fast. Can you put that on the charger back there?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh, yes.
Yes.
No.
How fancy.
Okay, guys, welcome to Podcast at Night. Whoa.
We should do some holiday trivia music guessing games.
Okay.
Let me finish writing this comment.
I think I'm just gonna skip lunch, guys. I'm just gonna
eat here.
Do you buy your lunch or do you have it? Okay, I think I'm gonna bring mine over here then.
Okay, so I have day of code for 4 and 5, but I might say it.
Yeah, no, I had day of code for 2 and 3, and I was like, I'm not showing up for
I'm not
that.
doing that.
Yeah. When I could talk to such interesting people.
Wait, that would be so cool though.
This is our intro for the one that Gabby and I do.
Fun. Okay. Wait, can we do the? Do you think the Bluetooth can hook up to my phone?
Yeah. This should be great. Is he here? Is that him?
Is that Mr. Rack?
I can't tell. Everybody looks the same. Okay, it's
Oh.
connected to your phone.
Okay. Cool. We're playing this.
We're gonna do some music trivia.
Someone asked, do you guys take guest calls? Who's Pigmaster?
That's Matt.
Oh, okay.
No, Matt. Don't do that.
If you have any questions, you can ask. We're not gonna. Okay, guys, here's my life story since we have nothing else to tell. I was born in a rural town in India.
You were. Wait, you're. I knew this. Never mind.
I was born in India.
Guys,
Oh my God.
ready?
Ooh.
Doing some holiday trivia here.
Please like and subscribe.
Guess the Christmas song.
I got this. I'm
Wait,
gonna
can they hear it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
15 seconds to say the name of the Christmassy song.
I got this.
Get as
I got
many as
this.
possible.
I'm gonna turn our microphones up.
Okay. Let's go.
What the heck?
Oh, it's just the
Oh.
beginning. It's number one.
Oh,
Sleigh
oh,
ride.
Nope.
I got it.
Yeah, Jingle Bells.
No, it's sleigh ride.
Jingle Bells.
Yeah,
Rocking
Jingle
all the
Bells,
way.
Jingle Bells.
Oops.
I hate that.
Did they not find it?
Jingle all the way. I like that one.
I'm in the process of trying to find Mr. Rec, and he is. I can't find him.
We're doing music trivia.
If you could, maybe we should just like go scout out another
I
teacher.
went to Miss Jones, and she's trying to find him right now.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. We can
So
still.
let's continue. Do you
Yeah,
want
let's
to try to find a
continue.
different teacher?
No, we're just doing trivia.
If he doesn't show up
We
in
can
like
continue.
a few minutes, we can.
We have 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have plenty of trivia to keep us entertained.
Okay. Red Rudolph.
Red Rose Reindeer?
Yes.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Did you know that Kids Bop like screwed up the beginning of this
What?
song? When they name all the, what are those things called? Reindeers?
Reindeer.
Reindeer. All I want for Christmas is you.
That was
I'm just
fine.
like Mariah Carey.
Mr. Hall loves it when I sing that out of key.
And that gives me anxiety. Did they say anything? I think that's still from the guest call.
Yeah, I'm gonna say please ask questions.
Is there anyone on?
5.
What? Silver Bells?
Dreaming of a White Christmas.
Christmas. Do you want to play Christmas trivia with us?
What?
Trivia?
Yes, so
Is he on his way?
Miss Rec, I was talking to Winchell.
Okay. Well, it's cool. We have
So
trivia.
I don't know where Mr. Rec is,
He's this.
but Mr. Lamb's baby is in the hallway right now.
What?
Can
Yeah.
Can you bring
Like,
her?
This big.
Wait, is he
It
bald?
I actually don't remember. I just saw him like I don't know. I've never.
Is it
had
a him or a
Mr.
her?
What?
Mr. Lamb is a him.
I know not the baby.
I don't know.
Wait, what? Why? Why is there a baby?
There's actually 2 babies right now.
What?
So
He had
I
two
think-
kids.
No,
Can you
so
bring them in?
I believe that the vice principal's baby is also here
Oh.
because I saw her and a man holding a young child.
This is crazy.
It might be a representation
Oh,
of.
look.
Oh, there he
guy.
is! He's coming!
Should I get off?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good to get off. I can't. I didn't mean it.
Okay, I can sit there and like.
Okay,
I found him.
Hola.
You're alive.
I think. I mean, unless I check.
Okay.
Oh my god.
What am I doing?
You're just sitting over there.
Okay, what am I talking about? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness,
Yes.
chocolate cake?
Do you want some?
No,
Some.
I'm fine. Thank you.
It's vegan.
Whoa, is it?
Yeah, try it.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Who are we most looking forward to interviewing today? Definitely. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, thank you.
Besides Mr. Rex,
Thanks.
definitely Lamb and Winchell.
I think.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
What?
I think there might be 3 teachers.
Wait, what?
Oh no.
3 teachers?
I think McClellan, Winchell, and Lynn.
Do you want cake?
It's cool.
No, I'm
Just,
fine,
like,
thank you.
sit down.
You have
because that's-
cake
yeah,
to
that's what I'm
spare.
saying.
Hey, you know what? I'll
That's
take it.
like
I
a
can
bit
try
like
vegan. I'm not
earlier,
gonna
like
cake.
stayed.
I made it.
Because I want
Oh,
Did you
they
really?
couldn't
Yeah.
hear the music.
Oh, really? No.
So next time, just play it into the microphone.
Yeah.
Whose period?
Okay.
All right, so what kind of questions are answer?
Just
Where do you get your
questions
clothes?
about life, your class.
yes.
Yeah.
Your wardrobe.
Yes.
My
your
wardrobe, oh, sick.
There you go.
I dig that, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm here talking to them.
Where did you get your lovely sweatshirt? I'm not listening.
Oh, I made this actually.
Whoa.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I dabble on the weekends, you know.
That's
Yeah.
skill.
Yeah, I try. I don't like to talk about me and myself too much, but yeah, I did. I'm really good at it. I'm really, really good. Mm-hmm. Really, really good. Yeah, I like that though. You see, it's like he's kind of like a little bit Rasta, you know, like Rastafarian, but I also could be lights in the beard.
I like the, yeah, I like the.
Thank you. Trying to match my beard as that is not there yet. Not there yet. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
How many pairs of shoes do you own?
Okay, I have a lot. Yeah, I have a lot. I get that question often. I would say north of 75.
What?
Yeah, yeah, fairly.
Too.
Safely.
I have like 5
That's
max.
fine. Yeah, my wife always tells me I have too many. I said, but honey, like the kids, for the kids. It's all for the kids. The kids like it. So yeah, I need to. But I do need. I do know a couple on my list I need to get soon. So hopefully in the spring when I don't get salt on them outside because that's a big thing for me too.
Scotch Guard.
Does that work?
Yeah.
I just making that up right now.
No, I've heard it works. I have a
So
friend
you've
that
not actually tried this. This is
No,
this
because
is,
I haven't bought Scotch Guard. But I have.
well, I haven't tried vegan cake, and I'm going to today. So
Yeah.
all right, well, thanks for trying.
Frosting's vegan.
Wow, that's impressive. Oh, well done, well done. So what about you ladies? How's this going in here? Enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We were
awesome.
just doing some random stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Some fun.
That's good. That's awesome. Looks like
Do you know who Brendan Urie is?
Brendan Urie.
Yes.
He looks like me.
Yeah.
All right, show me Brendan Urie. Well, maybe someone has asked me that.
And is it disco?
Yeah, I know Panic. I don't like recall what he might look like. Brendan or Brandon?
Brendan.
Brendan. I get some things. Someone has said that, and I get the other dude
Wait, let me
too.
see. Wait, someone
Yeah, a
said
little bit.
343 guilty sparks. Oh, that's
yeah. Don't
that's
listen to that.
Matt.
That's
Okay.
Matt. Matt, please stop commenting on stupid stuff.
Come on, man. Seriously.
No, but last year in Carson, people were like, "Wow, he kind of looks like Brendan Urie."
Yeah, I did.
I was
Maybe
like,
that's
you
where I
know
got
what?
it
I
last
get
year. Yeah. I also get the people from Crazy Town. That show Crazy Town. Have you seen what I'm talking about?
I have not.
Sporticus.
Wait,
Yeah, look it up. It's a thing.
I remember that, but like, what?
Sporticus. I don't know. Yeah, kids here have some interesting senses of humor. Yeah.
Wait.
Let me see.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy.
I understand.
That guy.
Show it to the people.
Yeah, show it to the people.
I understand.
Yeah,
You know, I get it. I get it.
I think I look a little better than that guy. Pretty sure I would not wear that outfit.
I wouldn't put it past you.
You're right. This is fair. This is fair. That's fair. That's a fair point.
Where did the teal pants come from?
Teal?
Yeah.
Oh, you noticed my teal pants. Awesome. I got some new ones too that I'm gonna save for the spring. On the internet machine, I got them. Yeah, the Amazon, someone might call that. I got them on Amazon. I'm really excited. I got some really bright ones for the spring.
Is that where you get most of your clothes from?
All over the place. All over the place. But I found these pants and they're really comfy, so I just get different flavors of them. You know. And no, they're not. I say it to my students, and they think they're scratch and sniff. And no, you're not scratching my pants, and you're not sniffing them. That's also weird. So I know. Really, we're in high school. You're around high school kids all day long. Really, really weird things occur. That's why I wrote a book. So.
Wait,
Wait,
really?
what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
tell us.
in the process of it.
Oh, tell us more.
Well, a lot of my students are in it. It's called The Most Ridiculous Things in the History of the Free World that my students have done in my class.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
What a
very.
title.
I know. It's long. It's long. Many stories.
What's your opinion on Visco girls?
I'm not really sure what that is.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what a hydro flask?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that thing that whatever. That's just dumb. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't understand it.
Neither do I. I don't understand the hype, but it's
Right.
okay.
I mean, just drink water. Why does that have to be a hydro flask?
They dead so easily.
Right, but I feel like it's just we're just monopolizing that company. Why does it have to be hydro? Right.
Why
I mean,
can't it just be metal?
Why not vegan hydro flask?
What?
It could be another brand. I'm saying my point is, like, if you can buy that, make that cake, you can make it vegan. But if I can buy a hydro flask, well, I should be able to make it better and, like, I don't know, just use plastic.
Yeah.
Isn't
Well, they're all save the turtle.
No, them just.
Yeah.
I thought-
Which I feel personally attacked by all the Visco girls because that was my thing, and then Visco girls became a thing,
Yeah.
and then I turned into a Visco girl
Right. But
because
you
that was
remember-
my thing before. So
Yeah,
they
you have
stole
good style. I remember you.
They stole my thing.
Yeah, good style. Good style.
They stole my whole environmental thing. Like
Really?
I don't know if Mrs. Rosie put up the banners yet, but mine's the one covered in plastic waste into
Oh.
like the little ocean. That
Cool.
was mine.
That's awesome. I like that. That's ingenuity. It takes some thought.
What's your favorite pair of shoes
Whoa. Shoes.
out of the 75?
Dude, man, I have a lot. Like, are we talking dress shoes? Are we talking boots? Are we talking chill
well,
shoes?
like-
Are we talking like
Yeah,
tennis shoes?
maybe shoes that you would wear to school.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my favorite pair of shoes. Okay, I actually got them custom made for my wedding. So I had a really good friend. He actually moved to Washington D.C., but he was an art teacher at where I coach at North Catholic, and he makes like these sick custom clothes shoes on the side with his business. So I had to make my my custom Converse for my wedding. I got to match my jacket.
Converse?
Huh?
That's amazing.
They were Cons. They had custom Cons. They matched the jacket that I wore and my socks that I wore. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Converse
maybe I should for sure.
Converse are the best.
Yeah, I actually prefer them over Vans personally.
Marissa Granite, we can't hear me. Oh, okay. I've come every period and the Blev is not here. Wait.
It's the ninja.
Okay.
It's the ninja. They say it
Who's
It's like
Joe?
a ninja with purple hair that like.
Oh my god.
You're interviewing a ninja with purple hair.
No, I don't.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. So you should get Air Force One.
I have Air Force Ones.
Oh yeah.
So you want to hear? Here's a really cool story about Air Force Ones. I had, was it 2 years ago, I think? I had a couple students as freshmen, and obviously they were sophomores. Didn't have them in class as sophomores, but I had them as freshmen. I helped them a lot in the math class. They came to see me during homeroom and whatnot. And then at the end of the year, they tricked me. So they're like, hey, we're doing this project for English. We're just taking a survey of what size shoe people wear. I'm like, all right, cool, I wear 12. Well, these girls, by the end of the year, I helped them all year long. They bought me an end of the year gift, and it was a custom pair of Air Force Ones.
So
Came apart, yeah, right? I was like, I text my wife, you'll never guess what my students bought me this year. Two of them pitched in and they bought me these custom Air Force Ones, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I know, I'm pretty pumped by that. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to find you my wedding shoes.
What's your favorite type of math since you teach both?
Oh, wow. I enjoy it all. I'll probably say like algebra 2 is probably my favorite, but I also enjoy working in like geometry, like different right side of my brain type thinking. It pushes me a little bit. So I enjoy that as well. I love what I do. So
Why did you want to become a math teacher?
I was in high school and I'm more of a black white kind of guy, so that's why I'm wearing black and white right now. But I just enjoyed the ability to work in detail and work through things and come to like a finite response. And I was always intrigued by that. And then I was pretty good at it. And I had a couple good teachers and it kind of inspired me to do that. And I just wanted to be around kids. So I love kids my entire life. I wanted to be involved in that regard. So I figured I love math, I love teaching, let's put it together.
What was high school Mr. Rec like?
Whoa, dork. No doubt. Well, I was an athlete too. I mean, I played basketball and was pretty successful there. So I was like a combination, maybe like a little quasi Renaissance man at a young age. So yeah, but I was pretty intense with what, my responsibilities were. But it's partly how I was raised too. So
What would you say is the most boring sport to watch?
was born. Man, people are gonna hate. But I have to say baseball.
I agree.
It
I
just-
agree. I hate
for me, just
baseball. It's so
personally,
long.
it just takes too long and there's too much dead time in between and I lose attention on it.
From where I come, Georgia, everybody's like obsessed with baseball.
Yeah, in the
Like,
South, yeah.
They're just like, I went to a Braves game once and everybody else is so hype. I personally didn't see it, but then at the end I was like, oh, I love baseball.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like I get it. Being there is fine. Like
Right,
you go to a
right.
baseball game because it's different. There's an
Yeah.
atmosphere. But watching on TV
Okay,
is so
actually,
long.
that is boring.
It just
Like,
takes forever.
Yeah.
I think golf.
Yeah, golf.
Yeah.
I love surfing, but like if you watch, the difference between that is it's hours long. Like
Yeah.
it can be up to 6 hours long.
Now,
But you
surfing's
can-
pretty sweet.
Pick what sheet you want to watch too.
Mhm.
Just what I do is like I have the notification. It's like, oh, Nikki Van Dyke is playing. Also, one thing I realized I start doing is I have
for certain names that I've learned through like from surfing, I have an Australian accent. Like I don't know what it is. It's just because I hear it on repetition with these Australian announcers, and like I realized it as I said it because I was like, this is usually a name that I always mispronounce. I said Nikki Van Dyke, like that.
Oh, really? You weren't even thinking about it.
I wasn't even
That's
thinking,
pretty
but
cool.
yeah, she's a surfer, and I was like, oh, I can go watch that.
That's
and
sweet.
they're only like half an hour usually.
I appreciate that. Okay, here's a couple cool pictures. So the other cool thing, not to go back to my shoes, but I have to real quick. So instead of buying my groomsmen like gifts, they all. So there's my jacket. Oh, what is that? You can see it's very multicolored.
That's really cool.
Right? Well, anyway, there we go. So there's all the different flavors of my jacket.
Oh,
flavors of my jacket.
wow.
So I had like 11 groomsmen. So you can see all the different colors. So I got every color in my jacket. I bought them their shoes to match that.
That's so cool.
And then mine were custom done. I got my brother's custom done too. So his nickname's Worm with a U, not an O. I don't know why, but so I got the word worm, W-U-R-M, inscribed on or written on the side, but the letters were actually a worm itself. I know this guy he's unbelievably talented.
That's amazing.
Yeah. If I can find this. Anyway, so I just want to show you.
Shoes.
Yeah. What else? What else you got?
What other sports would you like to try? So you said you played basketball.
I did, yeah. I played basketball in college. I don't know. I enjoy doing anything athletic, honestly. I'd like to try that I've not tried.
Yeah. That you maybe tried once and would want.
Yeah, that I enjoyed it. I like frisbee. I don't know why. I always have enjoyed like throwing frisbee and chasing after it and just knowing like where I have to position myself in the wind to catch it. You know.
That's a very math teacher.
What?
Yeah.
You could calculating the projectile motion of this frisbee so that you can. Well,
Why are you?
What?
Where's the camera?
Wait,
It's fine.
oh wait.
Oh, it's on the laptop.
It's right there.
Oh, okay, it's fine.
Are you singing?
Yeah. Okay, guys, get ready. It's over here now. Wait a minute. What?
Okay, we have some carol.
All right. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
No idea.
That was very
Okay, we're gonna. Someone needs to use that to advertise the
I will.
podcast.
I got it. Got you. Yeah. Okay, back to sports.
Yes, frisbee.
I have a really funny frisbee story.
Dude,
Can I
tell
tell it?
Come
I'm
on.
sorry. It's like hilarious.
Tell your first grade.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I was in New York with a group of my friends, like over 100 of us, and we were at this park with this beach, and a few kids.
Wait, is this a dream or did this happen?
No, this happened.
Okay.
And so there was these kids were throwing around a frisbee, and I knew one of the kids. He was like in my group that we were in, and so I was on this plastic toy that you like sit on and it spins really fast, and like there was like 3 or 4 of us, and so I was sitting on it, spinning super fast, and this kid was like, "If I can hit you in the head with this frisbee, then like something." Yeah.
Well, that was a great bet.
And so we were like spinning super fast. He threw the frisbee, and I like dodged my head, and he still hit me in the head with this frisbee.
I mean, why would you befriend this person?
Well, it was hilarious.
Oh, it sounds great. Yeah, getting beaten in the head with a
I
frisbee.
thought it was funny. And so I was like cracking up, and he felt super bad because he
Oh, that's so
he like
cool.
hurt me.
Are you really?
Yeah, but